Okay, so we should actually be live now, and hopefully this will work for a very impromptu setup. So, first thing we'll kind of hit on is kind of what we're doing here. So, this is going to be the Healer Abuse Podcast with our resident healer. Please say hi. Okay, the healer is already being abusive. Good to know. And then there is Bree.
Hello.
And the healer is still silent. Okay. We will normally have a fourth member with us. They, however, are not feeling well. They had the joy of walking for over 6 miles in the heat yesterday in the middle of the day. They don't make the best decisions when it comes to that, but they were also kind of forced into that situation, so we're only going to have slight judgment there. Um, the main purpose of this is going to be covering gaming news, what games are coming out, what games have come out, and what we are playing, with slight addendums of media that we are watching and enjoying. And at the very end, me and our resident healer, if he would like to speak up at any point in time, don't know, okay, I got it. We'll be talking about the mobile game that we play because, you know, we make poor decisions.
We don't
Never
have
claimed
anything better to
otherwise.
do.
So that's the current goal. Um, we do have the Xbox Live showcase or Xbox showcase that was taking place. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch bits and pieces of it, enough to get a couple of titles that I'm looking forward to, and maybe a couple of talking points as well. I know Bree has watched some of it. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Okay. And have you, Travis? Hello, Travis. Anytime. I am addressing you now with a question. Sorry, pardon us. Our healer is a little tsundere. That got a response. Christ. Okay. So shall I take that as you didn't watch the Xbox showcase?
No.
Okay. Um. Okay. Let's start with Bree. Do you have any titles that you want to talk about from the Xbox showcase?
Admittedly, there's only like two that I have a true interest in. Obviously, Halo, um, and that title from Obsidian, which I can't think of the game called. What the game's called at the moment? Avowed, I think.
Yes, Avowed.
Um, those look genuinely interesting. I love the new art style, or not the art style, but the new renders of Master Chief and the backgrounds and everything about it so far. The voice acting looks really good. Admittedly, there wasn't a whole lot to see with the gameplay trailer that they did, but it was a lot better than what they tried to do here. Um, for Avowed,
Well,
again, there wasn't.
let's focus one game at a time. So let's talk about Halo Infinite. Um, there's been some pushback online with it. Not necessarily with the voice acting or sounds of it, although there were some slight complaints about the gun noises. But people are concerned about the graphical fidelity of this next gen launch title, right? So, in my opinion, Halo Infinite didn't look bad, right?
But
Um,
it definitely looks more like something that should be on the Xbox Series X, considering, I'm sorry, the Xbox One, considering all the teraflops and power that it has. It should
Not even
render
the Xbox
better.
One. I think it's actually fairly equivalent to what is capable of almost a 360. Um, you know,
I mean, it looks a lot like Halo 5.
Halo 5 actually had a lot more lighting and kind of detail on the textures around. Um, the biggest issues that I see people having are a lot of the textures look limited,
Hmm.
and that the brutes look, well, how do I want to put it? Really smooth. And the brutes aren't a smooth people, right? They're a
You're
furry,
right.
rough, leather skinned group of individuals that really love to just punt a grunt,
They look
apparently.
like they look like someone took a beauty filter and took a picture. That's kind of what they look like. That have that blurred quality to the skin. So yeah, I can definitely agree there.
Um, and like the lighting, I don't think was anything special. As I said, I don't think it looks like a bad game. I don't think it looks like a next gen game. And especially for how much Xbox has hyped up how powerful their console is, it raises some concerns. Also, like the gun textures look really kind of smooth and plasticky, which again, is that kind of detail really important? Not really, but it shows kind of the attention to detail that has gone into the game.
Hmm.
Just as an aside point, didn't Microsoft also state that there won't be any Xbox Series X exclusives for a while?
So
So,
they
in all fairness, it's probably 90% made to be ran on an Xbox One slash Xbox One X versus truly next gen.
Well, the thing is, it's a launch title. Well, that's what we're assuming. We're assuming it's a launch title for the Xbox. So if it's a launch title, you would assume that it would be optimized for the console that it is going to be releasing on. That's just the assumption.
So a couple things on it, because you do raise a very good point. Is they did talk about having that as a launch, or having it where all titles will really kind of just run between one and the other. There are
At least
some,
first party.
yeah, at least first party, because it looks like third party games is definitely not following that already. Um, and I think the issue is like even when you compare it to like Halo 5 and Halo 4, the graphics are really underwhelming, right? Now, maybe the game is big enough to kind of justify some of that. It might be, but I've got some doubts as to how much that actually ends up being the case. I
Also,
know. Yeah, go ahead.
uh, obviously I chose not to watch said trailers because forget watching trailers. Um, did they actually specify that it was being ran off of a Xbox Series X, or was it indeed being ran off of a Xbox One X potentially?
They never said that.
They have actually since clarified that it's running on a PC with similar specs as the Xbox Series X.
That's even more depressing if they're running it on a P.
Right, because usually your PC runs are usually at a higher resolution, more textures, more lighting effects, and we're missing all of that here. Um,
It could also be an early build.
it is probably an early build, though they haven't necessarily said that it's an early build. I believe that
Look,
one.
my concern is if it's an early build at this point, it's July, the end of July. This console's supposed to come
No,
out
no, 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 no. What
holiday
I'm saying
time.
is the approved trailer is an
Oh,
early build,
early build.
whereas the game is significantly further in terms of adding stuff like God rays, blah blah blah.
Even
Well,
then, though, that's a pretty messy thing to do if you're doing a gameplay trailer for a game that's supposed to be coming out soon. Like
not
you would think you would want to
necessarily.
showcase the best parts of the game.
Well, the thing is, like with that, companies don't do it. End of the day, that's not the way it works. They get an approved build, they get an approved sequence of events, and that's what they capture and that's what they show. Now, the problem is that the person that addressed that it isn't just a, how do I want to put it, that it isn't running on like Xbox Series X, but that it's running on a PC similar to it. They also didn't say anything about being an early build, their statements were like, we're in the middle of a global pandemic and graphics, are, subject to change and might continue to improve up to the launch of the title. So there's not really any clarification that there is going to be graphical changes or that there won't be, but also not that it's from an early build. If I had to guess, I imagine the dev team is actually probably really shocked at the amount of pushback they got, especially with the amount of like hype they've had going into it. However, that seemed more like a defensive statement than like a, hey, we may have missed the mark here, let us kind of address it kind of deal. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do. Personally, the visuals doesn't matter a whole lot to me. I'll probably play either way, especially since I already have Game Pass. But it is concerning that that's such a core title to Xbox. And yeah, I get it. Xbox is also focusing on the PC player base as well now, whereas Sony isn't, and neither is Nintendo. So that makes it a kind of difficult area for contention.
Halo's been a joke after 3.
I've enjoyed the visuals and the overall gameplay of them. I enjoyed the Warzone and Halo 5, right? I enjoyed that quite a bit. But I look forward to playing it more. I hope that its gameplay loop is solid. I hope that it has a decent firefight mode, and I hope that the online is pretty solid. Definitely look forward to playing it, but I know a lot of people have some concerns on that.
My point was more just about general reception, not my personal opinions.
Yeah,
for the record.
Halo 4 and 5 has generally not been received well. The multiplayer for 5 was received actually pretty okay after a little bit of polish, but definitely like Halo 4's multiplayer wasn't received great, and they definitely changed the tone going into 5.
So it also wouldn't surprise me if for Infinite they wanted to more try to emulate 3, even if they're also potentially visually emulating 3 to a slightly extreme degree.
That could be, but I think they definitely need to address it. Otherwise, people are going to be really concerned going into it. I mean, people are already saying that, Sony won the console war. And we'll get into the console war topic, I think, a little bit later on, because I think there's a couple talking points worth having on that. But I think we've covered everything that we really can on Halo Infinite. Let's go to Avowed. So, enjoy the trailer on that. It looked like an interesting setting, but there was no gameplay really in there. The closest to the gameplay it got is them drawing a sword and prepping what looked like a spell in a Skyrim style combat system. God, I hope it's not like Skyrim. Controversial opinion.
Says the guy who owns Skyrim on several different.
I own a couple of versions of Skyrim on PC, but I've never gotten into the game. I cannot.
If you own a couple of versions, you're an idiot because there's only 2 to own.
Would you like to clarify?
Because there's Skyrim with the DLC, which automatically becomes Legendary Edition, so that's 1 edition. And then there's Special Edition.
Yes, I believe those are the 2 versions that are in my Steam library.
Then why didn't you just say both and one was given away for free instead of, yes, I own a couple of editions?
Because I don't own any of the console versions, I'm pretty sure.
No, you own Oblivion.
Yeah, I own Oblivion on PS3, and that doesn't have all the DLC, and that makes me sad.
You should have let me pick up that, copy.
No, the issue is that Oblivion literally didn't have all the DLC on PS3 ever. They never released
Oh,
them.
that's rough.
Yeah. PS3 for really anything was a freaking disaster. From what I know, it was a nightmare to code for.
Yes, that's what the issue with PS3 was.
So
That's
it's
also why I believe PS3 had free online. Because most multi-platform titles already suffered on PS3. So they probably did free online to win back people who otherwise would have just either stayed with Xbox or would have
Jumped
went
to
with
PC.
Xbox.
yeah, because Xbox was definitely the winner of the console war for that generation.
Yeah.
They just demolished Sony so badly. Even with
And
the
that,
massive hardware issues that they had.
I don't know, I still prefer the game library that the PlayStation 3 had.
PlayStation 3
And I've
definitely,
personally never had any issues with like glitches and bugs and things in my games.
well, that wasn't the
But then again,
problem.
well, I know, no, some people have had some pretty hefty issues with glitches and bugs with their PlayStation.
Well,
But
I
I
mean, yeah,
also
but
got kind of in late in the game too. So I have a PlayStation Slim. So I got in like right as the life cycle was ending. Actually, I got in right at the end of the life cycle of the PlayStation. So
yeah, but like that wasn't the issue that the PlayStation 3 ever had. The issue was it just didn't, hit to that. How do I want to put it? Almost like the more casual slash competitive gamer demographic. They just didn't even hit on that. Their
I think it was
biggest,
more competitive than casual that had the issue
well, yeah,
because
because I
lots of
mean,
casual people.
the reason to
But
own a PlayStation 3 was for JRPGs and more games from Japan and that style of game. If you
that's
wanted to play Call of Duty, if you wanted to do more
Y-
competitive stuff like that,
use proper terms, dude bro shooters.
well, I mean, dude,
I mean,
bro
I played
shooters
Call
are
of Duty Black Ops, was it 2?
that's fine, but their online service was not nearly as reliable as Xbox Live was, and that was because they had a free online service and they couldn't, pay to replace their existing PlayStation 2 servers.
Hmm.
Because that's essentially what the PlayStation 3 servers were running off of was the existing PS2 architecture for the online.
Yeah.
And they had massive security issues. They kept getting hacked. They kept getting taken down. People's accounts kept getting hacked. Now, towards the end of that console generation, you saw that sort of hit Xbox a little bit as well. Um, but it was substantially more impactful
On
on,
Sony.
yeah, it really was. Um,
Yeah, I remember that whole
yeah, so
quite the mess.
it was a problematic console generation for them. And then kind of they managed to reverse that with the PlayStation 4.
I'll be back.
Okay. Um, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X will be interesting to see.
I mean, you can already tell there are a lot of people who are intending on jumping ship already. Um, between Xbox to PlayStation, and I
I
find it
do
really interesting.
I think
I
that
find it fascinating.
there is a decent chance that a lot of people will jump ship,
Hmm.
but I think that may not end up being a big deal. But that's for a little bit of a different reason. Um, let's kind of refocus back to Avowed because I think the overall idea looks pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, the story looks like it could be interesting. Based on the trailer, it is about a kingdom that has been driven to the brink of ruin. Um, and potentially you're striving to be king of it or like the last line of kings for it or something like that.
Hmm.
So I mean graphically I think it looks great. I hope the combat is fairly solid and I hope it's better than Skyrim because I just could never get into Skyrim combat. It's either way too easy or way too hard. There's
Well,
just
I mean, Obsidian made Outer Worlds, didn't they?
I believe that they did. They
And
also
I mean, the
made
Outer
New
Worlds
Vegas.
was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed that game to the highest extent. So hopefully, if they take that success with that game and translate it well into Avowed, we might have another pretty good game on our hopefully, as long as
The Outer
things are
Worlds was
done
really
properly.
good, but it was also really short.
It was very short.
And for launching at a full price title, if I wouldn't have got it through Game Pass, I probably would have felt it wasn't worth the money. Not full price.
I
Because
don't know. For me, it depends on how much I enjoy the game, and if I can get at least 8 hours of gameplay out of it, then I'm fine with it.
I don't think 8 hours worth of gameplay is worth $60 unless it is a phenomenal game. And as much as I enjoyed Outer Worlds, and I think it's a solid title, I don't think it was phenomenal, bound breaking, everything like that. It was very good. It had a lot of good stuff going on with it. There was a couple of issues with the variety of weapons, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, and the amount of locations to explore, stuff like that. But I did enjoy it. But if I got like 6 hours out of the game, I wouldn't think it was worth it. Now that being said, I did play it for more than that. I forget what my exact playtime ended up being on it. But I do know that it is a shorter experience, unfortunately. That being said, I believe there is a DLC coming out in October for it.
Getting DLC? I had no idea.
Yeah, because part of the goal was that they would have DLC that would come out to help expand it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find that real
Get a
quick for us.
new planet.
Yeah, so the first DLC adds a new planet. And let's see here. Some new weapons. I wonder what the gameplay links will be.
Well, it says that it's
So
adding into the main story,
yeah,
so
so what this article off Polygon is saying, and
they're reading the same.
yeah, well, I mean that's gonna happen. I'll post that in the chat if anyone joins and wants to see that later. It looks like it's going to add about as long as the Monarch hub in the base game, which was about 6 to 8 hours.
Which, admittedly, for DLC.
Yeah, so I think I'll probably add a little bit more, especially for a player like me, because I go through things really slowly. But I take the
Yes,
time to
you do.
enjoy it. So I'd probably get anywhere from 8 to 15 hours out of it, most likely for myself. Um, but I still technically need to go in and actually beat the game as well. So I know I fully explored, I think, 2 or 3 of the zones that existed before. So, I enjoyed my time with the game. I think it's solid. I like the writing on it, really, for the most part. I think it did a really good job. Um, I, I would hope that Avowed will be a bigger game. So I hope that they have a little bit more financial backing on it, and it's less of a, hey, let us try to do something cool with it, and more of a, hey, this is going to be a more fully fledged experience, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Um,
truth be told, considering that Obsidian, this was a, hey, let us show you what we can do with what we have situation. They did a lot.
Well, yeah,
Um,
Obsidian is a great developer house, and they do a lot of really good and cool experiences. But I definitely think the lack of budget for the Outer Worlds kind of set people up for disappointment. I think it could have been a lot bigger of a game,
mhm,
and also like as a result, a much bigger um experience with it.
right. And I think
Now,
that could be what Avowed turns into, like what it ends up being is, hey, saw what we could do with the Outer Worlds with a smaller budget. Here's what we can do with all of the money that we were given, the amount. That's what I'm hoping for. I do like Obsidian um, as a game developer, game developing, and I do hope that Avowed is more than just that trailer. That
now I think a big thing that did hurt the Outer Worlds as well is going Epic exclusive. Because
yeah,
it's
that I agree there.
because it's not even launched on Steam yet. I went and checked that. Because that killed a ton of people's interest in it, and honestly, again, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I probably wouldn't have ever played the game because I don't agree with buying out exclusives on PC. I think it's arbitrary exclusiveness for the sake of it. So I don't
Which game?
necessarily. We're talking about the Outer
Outer
Worlds.
World.
And that they're getting their first DLC. I think I forget when it was already. I think it's October. Could be speaking out my butt though. I don't actually see a date in this article.
Yeah, no,
September 9th.
old date. Oh, at the bottom. It's at
Yeah, at the bottom. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope Avowed is a longer game than what the Outer Worlds was, and uh, you know, hopefully it's good. Um, Now we do have the Dragon Quest XI-S version coming to PS4, PC, and Xbox.
I think it's also
Um,
coming to the Switch too, isn't it?
it's already on Switch. The Switch launched with
Oh,
that edition.
did it really? Damn it, where was I?
It was the only edition available for Switch.
Yeah, like it
Hmm.
was originally Switch exclusive.
No, I
Um,
remember where I was. I was playing Breath of the Wild.
Now
That's where I was.
something worth keeping in mind there is that um, the implications on that is that right now there is no upgrade path for it. You have to pay full $40 to get that version.
Which
Um,
is fine.
Probably yeah. I don't think it's really targeted to a lot of the veteran players. I think it's it's either going to be targeted to the really hardcore people that want to go through everything again and do the new experience, or it's going to be targeted to picking up the new players who held off on it in the first place, right? Um,
I think it's just there as a choice because ultimately, from my understanding, I think they added a few extra dungeons based off of old Dragon Quest games. They changed one of the wishes that you get for completing trials near the end of the game, and the fact that you can play the game in 2D mode, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to mandate that you choose fairly early into the game.
um, there are set start points for it, so like if you want to do 2D mode, like you do have to be a little bit more careful about that. They recommend doing a fresh save file on that. Um, they do add a photo mode, I believe. They add cosmetic only costumes, a faster battle mode. You can call your horse away from bells. Um, they do
You can
have.
ride your horse in so few locations, though it doesn't matter.
I rode the horse a lot. I don't know what you're talking about. Um,
Walk club.
I'm sure you did. Um, but I think it'll be interesting. Really enjoyed the game. It looks like it's just going to be on Xbox Game Pass as well. So for me, it's not a big deal because if I want to play it again, I could do it through Game Pass. but realistically, I've got 115 hours in the game.
You still need to finish the game.
I still need to finish it for the true ending. No other comments about that part of it. But I enjoyed the game. I would recommend it to anyone that enjoys a turn-based battle experience and enjoys older Dragon Quest. I was like, what, 8? You know, it's pretty similar. A lot of fun. Spent a lot of time on it. Bree can attest. I disappeared for about 2 weeks playing nothing but that.
3.
Well, maybe 3 weeks. It was bad, but I enjoyed it a lot. Another game that's coming out that I think is going to be especially interesting to you, Travis. Is you enjoyed the Suikoden series, right?
I'm aware of the Kickstarter or whatever it's going to end up actually being.
It looks like it's going to be a Kickstarter. The game is going to be called Ayuden Chronicles. I love the art style for it. I think the art style looks really slick. You got a cool 2.5D pixel art style.
I'm going to be completely honest. It's probably not something I'm going to enjoy.
You don't think so?
No. Those games suck. Fight me.
Okay, but you played them all, and you got the true ending.
That is a lie. I failed miserably.
Didn't you go back and get the true ending, though?
For the first one, for the second one, I never actually bothered to do it because it's really, really dumb.
But you at least enjoy them enough to play through them. And I remember you talking about them quite a bit when you was playing through them.
You don't understand how salty they make me.
But you're going to probably play it, aren't you?
There should not be garbage mechanics that kills characters permanently.
Okay, but you're going to play this game when it comes out, assuming it does. I'm figuring.
It's a JRPG, probably.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Have you seen any of the art style for it?
No, I don't need to. It's 2.5D. It's probably fine.
We share a similar aesthetic appeal for the most part, so it looks phenomenal.
I'm willing to play garbage 3D JRPGs. So
yes.
Shut up.
Look, just because you're willing to doesn't mean that you don't, appreciate some nice style here and there. But I think the art style looks great. I look forward to seeing what it is. I don't normally do Kickstarters. I might kickstart that game because I want to see more games of that art style and that kind of caliber come out. They got a lot of people who were involved in the original Suikoden involved, and people that were involved with Suikoden 4 as well. I've only Suikoden I've ever played really was Suikoden Tactics for the PlayStation 2.
It sucked.
Well, I played it at a time in my life where I enjoyed the kind of game it was, but I didn't have the time commitment that I was willing to make to play through it. So I do want to go back and play those games at some point. Don't know that I ever will, but I know it's a series that has a bit of an underground following, and I hope that this does great. I really do. Any other thoughts on that?
Suikoden Tactics sucks.
Okay, that same thought, but okay.
I've never played any of those games, but I'm interested in watching you play, I guess.
Imagine Shining Force or Fire Emblem, except you do like double damage from behind or you're guaranteed to hit. It's stupid.
It's supposed to be more of like a proper kind of war game rather than like Shining Forces take turns slugging
Game
each
was
other.
too easy. Game was too easy. All you do is surround your opponents and beat them down from behind.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's almost like if you put, 4 people on one, that one person is probably gonna get killed.
You know, the Game Grumps
Oh.
said it best. Whack.
Another game that's I saw that kind of interests me, but after doing a little bit further research, makes me really concerned. Exomecha. It's going to be a free-to-play competitive shooter, first-person shooter.
It's
With
a first-person shooter. It looked like a bunch of like rock'em sock'em robots. Like
no, it's a
that's,
first-person shooter and it's free to
that's what it
play.
looked like. That's
Um,
weird.
it and it's supposed to be competitive, so it looks to me like it looks similar to like Planet War and then Titanfall kind of mashed together.
Is it going to be like a battle royale style? Please tell me it's not. I am
No,
so sick and tired of battle
no.
royale.
Are you familiar with what Planet Wars is?
No.
Planet War is essentially a massive free-to-play first-person shooter where you buy loadouts and stuff and wage war for in-game territory.
Uh,
Um,
Sounds
so
like you're a perfect game for you.
I never got into it. Planet Wars 2, or not Planet Wars, it's Planet Side. I'm sorry, that was me messing up entirely. Planet Side 2. Never got into it on launch. I tried to play it a little bit on an old Toshiba laptop that really wouldn't run it well, and I've never went back to play it. It's still getting updates, so there is still a community for it. But I don't think it ever really took off as big as they would have hoped it would have.
To be fair, there's still a player base for RuneScape, so are you really surprised?
RuneScape Club.
Um, so while I would like to think it looks cool, because it does look cool, because I saw like I think a giant scorpion that shot fire out of its tail. Um, and there was also one like giant battle mechs that had swords and axes with shields.
Look, my only interest is if they have models. If they ain't got statues, I ain't trying to hear it. It'd be really nice though if they did have statues. Like that would be really cool. A good way to build. Since it's a free to play, it would be a really interesting way to build funds for people. You know, you have these giant robots that you can buy models of. That would be really interesting. I
Yeah, but
probably wouldn't play the game, but I would buy the model.
they're probably not gonna have anything like that.
I don't
Closest
know.
thing you'll
A
get
girl
like
can
that
hope.
is like Gunpla mo-
You good there?
Gundams. Gundams.
There you
That's a
go.
word.
There you
I was
go.
going to say modems.
The only modem we're gonna have in this house is our internet modem and the PlayStation 5. Those are the only two modems allowed in this house.
Anyhow, I'm super nervous about it being free to play and it being a competitive shooter game. That makes me very unsure, but hopefully
I'm
it's
still
solid.
hesitant on most free to play games, truth be told.
Well, that's because most
Um,
free to play games are pretty garbage.
Evo.
Um, Moving on, because there's really not any other information on Exomecha, except that it's supposed to come out in late 2021.
Hmm,
Um, have either of you heard about Bug Fables?
that's not what I think it is. But no, I
No, it's
don't
not
think.
Bug Snacks.
Okay.
I've heard the
Because I
title.
heard bug and I'm like,
No information on it though.
So it's essentially supposed to be kind of like a spiritual successor to the older Paper Mario series, and I know me and you have discussed this a little bit. Um, I know like the last three iterations of Paper Mario have had some controversy around them, as far as like the kind of gameplay they're going for there, and whether they really should be an RPG experience or whether like battles really need to be in there.
I stand by my opinion of if you actually look back at the old Paper Mario games, the EXP system in the game was essentially pointless. And it very easily could have just abandoned the EXP system.
I I need to at some point go back and kind of replay some of Thousand Year Door, but Thousand Year Door is like really what I think people want Paper Mario to kind of return to, as
That's what they
far
want
as
all Paper Marios to be.
No,
they
no.
want to be
Everyone
similar.
wants it to be back to Paper Mario 64. Thousand Year Door was Corridor Simulator. Get it right.
All I see anytime I hear people on come up on like forum threads or anything, anytime anyone talks about Paper Mario, it's always about Thousand Year Door.
I
Always.
would say Thousand Year Door is what
Nothing
people
else.
talk
It's one or
about.
the other. They either want it to be Thousand Year Door, but with like 64's level design, or they just want it to be Thousand Year Door 2.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, come on.
To be fair though, Thousand Year Door was really solid, like just kind of really all throughout. It was a good experience for what it was at the time. I don't know how it's held up now. I've not played it in ages, for lack of a better
Did you
term.
ever play it?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I know I
Because
watched
you're
you play through it a
notorious for
bunch.
starting a game, getting maybe 25% through, and then you put it down forever.
Look, that happens a lot, yes. I don't need to be called out on that. I'm very aware.
Yes, you do. You need to be
But
called out
Sounds
on
like
it
you're
when you're
being added
trying,
on me.
when
Or
you're
added.
trying to host a gaming news podcast. People should know you're one of those people who you do about 25% of a game and then put it down forever.
You
it
have a
does
nasty habit of doing that. Yeah.
it happens a lot. What's worse is it's actually more about 50% of the way through and then just fades to silent. But
Drives me nuts.
my goal is to do better on that.
How many games have we started and never finished together? How
Not
many
that many.
games? Too damn many.
Not that many.
Too
See,
damn
your
many.
mistake is not playing with me. I might be mildly abusive, but at least I finish things.
And you're less likely to blow me up with a rocket launcher
No,
should
he's
we ever
not.
play Resident
No,
Evil
no,
together.
he is
No,
more
no, 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 no,
likely.
no, no, no. He's less likely to blow me up with a rocket launcher, but I'm more likely to be attacked by liquor if it's him.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually
It's
extremely
different.
unlikely to blow up people with rocket launchers considering I don't like explosives.
No, you're just more likely to get them killed in some other way.
Some horrific, weird, buggy way. No,
Oh, yeah.
that's not usually possible in the game, but it happened.
But yeah, it looks like a lot of the animations are concerningly similar to Paper Mario. But I hope that'll do well. I hope that ends up being a good game. It looks like it's coming to Switch. I don't think it's coming to any other platforms. But I think that's probably pretty okay considering the people that would want that game are probably on Switch. Another game that has come out recently was Panzer Paladin. Stratus, if you would check that out on Steam, because
Wait. Did you say Panzer as in tanks?
yes, Panzer Paladin.
I'm not.
It is a really it looks like a very slick old school game experience.
You probably liked Girls in Panzer too, didn't you?
I mean, I know that's a thing that exists. I know when I play World at Tanks, I play with a Girls in Panzer soundtrack and with the pictures. But that's all I know about it.
I think that makes it worse for you.
That's all I know about it. Look, I'm just saying the music's pretty okay, and it's better than looking at tank crews that I don't care about.
Look, all I'm saying is that's probably a ridiculously highly rated anime. Way too highly rated. I think it's like 4.8 out of 5. I don't know why it's so highly rated.
I don't say I'm
But it
pretty
is.
sure it's just waifu picker, right? Essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's just like what, like Azure Lane and Fate.
God. Fate. Oh God, Fate. Don't get me started on that damn series. But yeah, basically. Long story short.
But
That's a
no,
series you
I
should
think
watch. You like to watch people die, right?
What, we
no.
should watch Fate?
No,
No
I'm
thanks.
good. I'm aware that they keep killing off like people's favorite people in just like horrible ways.
Yeah.
I'm really good not doing that.
Listen, if I want to see people die in horrible ways, I'll probably just stick to really bad JRPGs.
Come on, you don't want to watch some horrific murders? I mean, play Corpse Party. That's fun.
No, it's not. I've tried playing those. It's not fun.
Oh, I know a lot of people who will argue otherwise, but
They're not
I just like to watch
fun
other people play
games,
it.
but watching Corpse Party 1 was definitely an experience.
That being said, I was strangely okay with Death End Request, which is a terrible JRPG.
I somehow not surprised.
Travis, our resident JRPG player. Terrible JRPG player.
That being said, I will still probably totally buy Death End Request 2.
Of course.
Sounds about right.
No surprise there.
Gameplay mechanics aren't the best, but story was interesting in the first one.
I mean, I guess that's what it's all about, right?
Well, I mean, it's like saying, okay, imagine your average, in air quotes, garbage compile heart game, except with like the corpse party scenario writer. So you get the gruesome deaths, basically, of corpse party, while also getting compile hearts quality content.
Boy, oh boy, sounds like the greatest time.
Well, it sounds like a time. I'm not sure if it's the greatest. Um, did you check out that trailer?
No. You will not ever get me to watch a trailer.
How do you decide if you like a game? Like
Screenshots.
aesthetically? Oh,
Screenshots.
do I need to find you a screenshot and send it to you?
I looked up Panzer Paladin. It's exactly what I thought it would be.
Okay. I think it looks great. The movement looks to be fairly decent. Um, not as fast as like Shovel Knight or something like that, but still decently okay.
You should probably also more associate the game with like Blaster Master than other things. Considering you can get in and out of the mech suit.
So it's like Gundam.
No,
No.
no, not like not even like a little bit. Um,
It's like saying you're playing Call of Duty Zombies on Origins, the Panzer Soldat.
Hmm.
Whenever I hear
yeah.
Panzer anymore, I think of those things, not literal tanks.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, that was a call from my dad. We will ignore that occurred. Um,
Maybe you should turn your
Rude.
sound off.
I probably should, but
Yes, yes,
here
you
we
should.
are. Here we are right now. Um, so another game that came out just this last week is Carrion. It is a horror style monster infection game where you are the biomass, spreading infection and killing things. Concern I've heard is that it's kind of short, um, and that there's a couple of forced human segments, but otherwise it's being rated pretty highly on Steam, and hopefully that means that we will see some kind of level design DLC come out of it to give that game some longer life, right?
A little bit more
Because
depth, yeah.
who doesn't want to be the monster taking over a space station,
Me.
right?
Me.
Okay, well, just because
You're the exception to the rule.
just because you'd rather be the space station being taken over means nothing, Travis.
I'm a survivor.
Travis, you are the exception to pretty much every rule. You are definitely not the rule.
Yeah, that's fair. Um,
Rules are for squares.
You are the squarest person I have ever met.
that says something because she dates me.
Ladders are also for squares.
Okay,
So many angles. Just
shut up. Um, we got Alpha 1 for Hello Neighbor 2. Um, just ugh, like after the mishandling of Hello Neighbor 1, like I was never going to be someone to play that game in the first place, right? It's not my kind of game.
Yeah, stealth is not your forte.
But it was so mishandled and it had so many drastic changes and things not included in the final build of Hello Neighbor 1 that it's really kind
Isn't
of a
it called Halo? Not Halo. Hello Stranger.
It's hella stranger.
well, there's what is it? Hello Stranger is the one at the park, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think Neighbor 2 is like actually like Hello Neighbor though. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to dig more into it. But just ugh, why? Because Hello Stranger, watching Matt Pat and them play through it on GT Live, incredibly painful. Those game mechanics,
He sucks at games.
yes, but still the mechanics are trash.
But you
He
can't judge
probably
bad.
plays games the same way most average people would play games. Again, Travis, you are the exception to every rule. So if he struggled that much with just, playing a game, the average user would also probably struggle with it as well.
No, I think he's definitely just one of those people who, like my dear brother, struggles to speak and play at the same time.
He can, but like I've watched him play a lot of games that are rather difficult and also speak as he's playing them. So I mean, he is definitely a better gamer than I am, and he's definitely a better gamer than what I think the average individual is. I
Watch
know
his
that.
Rubber Ross destroyed me.
Well, look,
It's just him on the couch, and he ran into a wall at least 3 times.
Hey man, them walls come out of nowhere sometimes.
uh, I assume it's in Mario Maker, and yes, especially
Yes.
in Mario Maker, they just come out of nowhere sometimes.
No, they don't. You're just blind as a bat.
This game we're talking about Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha and the disaster that the first Hello Neighbor was.
Who asked?
Uh, guy in
Oh,
chat.
you're probably in chat. I was gonna
Yeah.
say you're
Yep.
probably in chat
We
right
are streaming here.
Yeah.
I hope that they'll actually fulfill their promises and visions with Hello Neighbor 2. But I have absolutely zero expectations about them doing so
That's
because
fair.
they failed so badly with Hello Neighbor 1. It just wasn't even close, right? Outside of that, I don't got a whole lot more to say about Hello Neighbor. It's an alpha 1. It'll be an alpha for probably another year, and then they'll release a semi-completed game. And I hope that's not true, but I don't got high hopes.
I mean, based on history, that's kind of what you have to follow with.
Yeah, especially like with like Hello Stranger or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think anyone enjoyed the first Hello Neighbor 1 game, especially not like Matt Pat. Watched a lot of GT Live and watched his playthrough and finding his secrets in there through the mini alphas. He
I mean,
enjoyed.
they enjoyed it like the first few times they played,
Well,
but
they enjoyed the
after like
first.
the fifth chain, it kind of got repetitive, and I think they increased the sensitivity for the neighbor or whatever his name was,
They did
so he
that.
would find you a lot faster.
They changed the house design. They changed a bunch of the mechanics. They said that there was supposed to be a bunch of bosses in there and a bunch of other areas to explore, and they kind of halfway delivered on most of those.
Mm-hmm.
It just was a frustrating experience that ended up not being enjoyable.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they'll do better with this, but based on what I've seen with Hello Stranger, I think, which is the amusement park one, I I'm sorry, no, it's gonna be bad. On to the next game. Creeks came out. It is by the same guys that did Botanacular and Machinarium. Really looks like it just focuses on the same kind of puzzle, but it just gets harder throughout. Let me see if I can pull that up. Because the art style in the game looks phenomenal. And it's definitely something that I think looks amazing. Definitely not my kind of game. Never play the game. But the art style is phenomenal. And it's just supposed to be a puzzle game. Not really a whole lot of complexity there. It just gets harder. Hearing about 6 to 7 hours worth of gameplay on that. And I'm pretty sure neither of you guys are really familiar with Botanacular Machinarium.
Not in the least.
Okay. They do really weird art styles.
Wouldn't it be Machinarium, not what?
Probably
Whatever you're saying?
Machinarium, yes. Machinarium is probably the proper way to pronounce it. Love
We
the
all know
art
you're
style,
not
though.
exactly the person really need to listen to when it comes.
Look, just because my pronunciations are a little off means nothing.
A little bit?
Shut up. There has apparently been a 5D chess with multiverse time travel released. Because that's what we needed. Yeah. Looking at it on Steam looks like bullshit, and I'm good. I like chess. It's rated well, so people enjoy it, and it's multiplayer. So there is a multiplayer component where you can actually play 5D chess with multiverse time travel in it. Because again,
Sounds interesting.
yeah, just like, why does that need to be a thing? It just hurts. And I know Travis doesn't play chess, so he's probably just like, yep, that exists. Labyrinth Legend looks like an indie game that came out. Does have mostly controller support. I like the sound style of it, but it does look really mobile gamey. So I don't really know how I feel about it. It's like $7, so it's not super expensive, and the art style is pretty okay. But I don't know like if there's any kind of like actual depth or skill involved in playing that game. But it is co-op. It does say that it has co-op and supposed to be multiplayer with people. So maybe something to keep in mind. Have either of you ever looked at Rock of Ages as a game series?
I've seen gameplay videos of it. It looks like it's dumb.
Wasn't
Okay.
that a movie?
I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty
was a
sure you just.
movie.
Well, I guarantee you that they're not the same thing.
Probably not, but yeah, that's where I know the name from. No, I've never seen the
So
game.
Rock of Ages is where
Don't you
you
roll a boulder downhill and try to destroy the other person's castle gate or something?
yes. You pick what kind of boulder you want to roll down the hill. Your opponent places obstacles in the way, and your goal is to avoid them and or destroy some things and deal the max damage to their castle wall to win or
Do
whatever.
you have control of said boulder?
Yeah, kind of.
I think you can angle it left or right, and you might have a choice to jump.
I think there is a choice to jump because I think I remember watching people like jump onto an island to like skip part of the track or whatever.
I don't know if it's a choice of jump or if you have to find ramps.
Yeah. First two games were received pretty well. And they're very satirical, really wacky, weird art style, um, campy Renaissance music with it. The third game has apparently come out, and it has some apparently pretty buggy issues. So it's got mixed reviews currently. Hopefully they can get those fixed, but they also don't have the original sound composer for the first two games. We then have Accident the Plot. It's really just a demo of a game that is coming out. It's closest way I can explain it is an do action simulator, such as you roll up to the scene on the accident and you then click actions to go through and deliver aid and make choices on how you want to do it. I'm not sure that it's actually a good game or how much of a game it is, but it intrigued me enough to click on it.
And sometimes that's all
Judging
it takes.
by your wish list, it doesn't take much to get you to click
To
on
be
something.
fair, look, most of my wish list, and I know my wish list is very large and that it needs to be
Ridiculously so.
almost purged.
Almost.
A lot of those games are from like 6+ years ago, and also a lot of early access titles that never panned out. But otherwise, I don't know that it's a game that I've showed interest in before, and it helps me to be like, hey, if I see this somewhere for a decent price, I may want to take a look at it. Neon Abyss looks like a pretty sweet art style. I'll pull that one up as well. A little bit, more on the cost side, $20. It's not super expensive or anything like that. But the art style looks pretty good. And I am interested in it. I'll probably look at picking up on sale at some point because I think I'll be terrible at it. Because there's a lot of color and a lot of bullets. Because it's a bullet hell.
Love me some
Roguelike.
bullet hell.
It's a bullet hell
God.
roguelike that you are a platformer. So it's not even a flying bullet hell. You are jumping around platforms and hoping that it works.
Like, I'm good with the platforming side of things. I just really hate roguelikes. No.
I enjoy them when they're done well. But the art style looks good. I like it. It's very shiny, very colorful, very neon. So I'll probably give it. I'll probably give it a go at some point. I just don't know when. And then another title that you probably have some interest in, Travis, is Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon 2. I know that's come out a little while back. What are your thoughts on that?
Haven't played it.
Do you have a desire to play it?
Potentially.
Potentially, okay. Do you think that? Go ahead.
And by that I mean I've chose to wait to play on it to see if one of my friends wants to blind race it rather than me completely demolishing it for what it has to offer.
So, aka yes, eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be that hard, I'm sure.
Probably not. Do you think that it's problematic that because Bloodstained, what was it, Ritual of the Night, or is it Curse of the Moon? Not Curse of the
Which
Moon.
one are you talking about?
The actual like core title,
Ritual of the Night.
Ritual of the Night. Thank you. I get the two mixed up for whatever reason constantly. Do you think it's because it's been out for a year and it's supposed to have 13 free DLCs by the time everything is said and done? Do you think it's problematic that we're only on DLC 3 or 4 a year in?
Not overly so.
Because it looks like we're only going to be on DLC 7 or 9. by the end of the year. And I think end of the year is when they're planning the third character launch. Because they went for a long time with very little news about it, but I think that was because of what? The Switch port is what they're saying?
Um, it's hard to say for sure.
Because I know I enjoyed my time with the game, and I got very close to the end of the game.
Is that yet another game you didn't finish?
Yes, I didn't finish it, but I got to the very end of it.
How can you get to the end of a game and not beat it? Like, I don't. That. No. Stop that.
Well,
No.
look,
Get
I
help.
did it. Listen, there's not much up to give. Um, but I did enjoy the game. Some of the ability sections were a little too dependent, I think is the word I would use for it. But otherwise, I thought it was a fairly solid title. But I am glad that they are continuing to support it, and that even though their first DLCs came out very late into the game, that they are coming out, and hopefully by the end of next year, we'll have all the DLCs out for it. Trash, do you have any games that are coming out that you're looking forward to right now?
What are games? What are we discussing?
Video games, and the ones that are coming out and or have come out recently that you are excited about.
I mean, on the 30th, there's Neo 2's first DLC. On the 31st, I have no idea how good or bad it's going to be, but there's going to be the Fairy Tale game.
Wait, like Fairy Tale the anime?
Yeah.
They're coming out with another one? I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but considering how popular the show was, but I
I
had no idea
didn't
they were
even
coming
know
out
there
with
was
another one.
I didn't even know there was a game coming out about it.
It's made by Gust and published by Koei Tecmo.
Okay, so it's either going to be a really good port or a really bad port.
Just get off the PC train.
Not gonna happen. I'm on my PC all the time. I'm
Um,
never on
With all the
console.
consoles we have in this house and
I
all
know,
the
but I'm never
TVs,
on them. I'm never on them.
I don't know anything about the game, but there's going to be apparently game called Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon Infinite Combat? No
of
idea what
course, they're
that's
making a
about.
game for that. Another one based off an anime. It's Becky.
I
As I
think
said,
it's
there's Death End Request 2. Uh, there's also Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered.
yeah. When is that supposed to come out?
Currently the 27th of August.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
that'll be a late birthday present for you,
Um,
Tyler.
it that's only going to be on what, Switch and PlayStation, right?
Switch, PS4, iOS, and Android.
Man, I really wish it was going to be on Steam, but
I mean, we have
I know,
literally
I know.
3 of the 4.
Shut up. I know. I still wish it was on PC though, because I know that's where I would play it the most.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
From my understanding, it will have cross-platform multiplayer.
Hmm.
It's only online multiplayer. Um,
that
and
makes sense.
there's essentially going to be a demo mode where I believe you can play with a friend up to I think it's 14 levels of the game without
Sorry,
actually having to
what?
buy it. So you
That
can do
many?
like 3 years and like two missions or something. I think like that, pretty close
That,
to that.
but like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, that can't be right. That's so much of the game. Like,
It's also a bucket carrying simulator if you are only playing with 2 people.
well, I mean, yes, and you did a lot of bucket carrying back in the past. Um, are they not going to change that?
I am sure they're not going to change that.
That's unfortunate.
Because here's the thing, it doesn't work if they give you a Mog for 2-player to carry the bucket. Because who does the Mog follow? Player 1 or player
Oh,
2?
player one.
At
That's
which
not even
point
a
player 2
question.
might as well be, at that point player 2 might as well be carrying it.
No, because then player two can still fight.
You can put it down to fight.
You can, yes, that's true. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the game. But like being able to play like 14 levels is like it seems like a lot for that game. Because it's not a super like I don't know, like how many years has to pass before you can beat it?
Not positive.
Because I feel like that puts you probably like roughly halfway through the game, right?
Probably puts you slightly over halfway through.
Right? That like that's a lot of game for a demo, which I mean, hey, kudos to them on that. But that's a big gamble. That's a big gamble.
Well, Square Enix has got to do what they got to do, you know?
I mean
Maybe they're
that's
confident enough in it that people will enjoy the game enough that they'll actually want to beat it. So,
they better hope so, because I mean, Crystal Chronicles has never really been a big split off of the Final Fantasy franchise. Like it's just never been that big.
It received 3 entries in it, if not more.
Well, yeah, but I don't think like any of those entries did particular well outside of like the first one. Because you had the Wii version and then you had um 2 DS versions, right? And I think that's it. I don't think there was any more in the uh Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles series.
I was never really too interested in the Crystal Chronicles. Um, I typically don't like turn-based RPGs or
Oh no,
the
it's not turn based.
I was going into it. I can't actually think of the name of it. The strategy combat ones where you place the characters on squares
Tactics.
and that's the word. Yeah. I'm not a very big fan of those types of games personally. Um, but I can understand why they're so popular.
Crystal Chronicles is always action.
Yeah.
Has it really been?
Yeah, Crystal
No,
Chronicles
I'm
has
probably
always
thinking of.
you're thinking of tactics.
Unless my life as a king or my life as a dark lord were different. Um Crystal Chronicles was action. I believe Rings of Fate was also action. Echoes of Time was action.
Because we played
And
Echoes of
I'm not
Time
for
on DS, right?
yes. Again, it's one of those I don't think you ever beat, whereas I did.
We
And then
Just
I'm
going
not
to
co-op
for
be
through a
sure
safe
lot
about
to
of it.
Crystal Mirrors.
assume. It's just going to be safe to assume that most of the games he plays, he has not beat. Just leave it at that.
Didn't Echo of Time have a new game plus?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we played through the new game plus because um I know we made it pretty far into it. And I know we was co-oping it on the DS. So I think we had to be at least decently in it. You know what I mean?
I was just accusing you of not beating it.
But you was playing it with me, so I think we must have.
No, because you're really bad about finishing stuff.
But I mean, think about how many times we played through and beat Shining Soul 2. We beat that quite a bit. And I
So
have
all I'm hearing
beat Shining
is
Force
that
1.
what I'm hearing is that you can go back and beat a game that you've beaten before, but you don't finish the games you've not beat yet.
Well, I mean, I've not played Shining Force 1 in years, and I haven't played Shining Soul 2 in years. So that's because it's Game Boy Advance.
Mhm.
So here, let me put this another way. I beat Shining Soul 2 like 10 to 15 times. You beat it like 3.
No, it was more than that. We co-opted through so much of that. I would have had to beat it more to keep playing with you. We did a ton of characters.
You didn't do that many characters.
No, I did several.
You played the same person every time
Well, I
because
mean,
you like, oh, I like this character because they get healed more from the healing items.
to be fair, the healing items were a big part of it. That's fair. I also
Whereas
had
I
a
played the
I also had a
ninja, I
mage.
played the, and you sucked as the mage.
Well, that might be fair. Also played
Whereas
the
my mate,
lizard guy.
he sucks as well.
No, he used flails.
He still sucked.
Flails don't suck in that game. It was good.
No, the flails suck. You either go ninja, archer, or you go death mage.
Well, I mean, if
I
you're
mean, Death
trying to
Mage is
optimize it,
always the best option. Just throwing that out there.
it
I
was a
mean,
fun game though.
when you can cast a fireball bigger than your character, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, Shining Soul 2 was fun. It spent a lot of time playing that.
Learned the best level up strat ever in that game.
I know, obviously far future we have EDF 6 coming out. There's also EDF World Savior?
Brother.
World Brother. Okay. Um,
World Brother.
yeah, it's
That's the
voxel
name.
based. It's
I
It's aimed at getting younger audience members
yeah,
interested.
But why is it? That's a terrible name.
it I don't know that I have much hope for that one.
I think it's going to be a cross between various universes.
Yeah, probably. Also like the map size, I am worried is going to be a little bit small because you're going to fall off the edge because it's a giant cube. So, yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised if it somehow ended up worse than Insect Armageddon or Iron Rain.
I mean, outside of the tanky enemies in Insect Armageddon, the game wasn't bad. Um, Iron Rain I've not played, so I don't know.
You
But
should play through it.
you'll have to
And
play through it
actually
with me
finish
again
it.
sometime.
What?
You'll have to play through it again then sometime. Because
Why aren't you willing?
I'm not gonna play through that solo.
Why not?
Because I
Because you
know
won't finish
better.
it.
Those games are easiest solo.
Well, they might be, but they're not as much fun.
I think I beg to differ.
Just because you're a hermit means nothing.
He really is a hermit, though. I don't think there's really too many other games that are coming out. I think those are really the big ones. Gaming news wise, let's talk about the console wars for a moment, right? So, people are saying the console wars are dead, that they're over, that they're done. Now, it's not because any one side has necessarily won, but that they're all winning. And that is with the assumption that with Xbox, their whole goal is the Play Anywhere model at this point, media center, console with more of your competitive shooter gamers on there, and their subscription model with Xbox Game Pass. Sony, your real big story titles with really good visuals, and your excellent exclusives that have really strong story details and everything else that goes with those. Nintendo, well, I mean, they're doing Nintendo things, right? They're dominating the handheld market. There's not really another player in that field. They have great first party games, and they have a lot of really niche titles in there as well, right? And they finally started, to support more of your third party devs. So the console war has kind of ended in a draw, with everyone winning on a different front. What do you two think about that?
Interesting take. The take I saw on it is Nintendo decided to say, forget console wars, we're doing our own things and focusing on making quality products for the most part. Obviously, not every game is going to be a winner. Microsoft is just being like, yeah, there is no console war. So again, I don't think it was one of those things where there was hardly ever truly a console war outside of like the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the Sega, and maybe 64 to PS1.
I think that there was a console war ongoing, especially between Sony and Microsoft.
I
I,
think the console war more applies to the fans than it does to the makers.
well, yes.
Well,
Yes, the makers were trying to make consoles that would sell. Obviously, that's the goal.
Well, like
But
what I mean in specifically, just as a point of references, I'm pretty sure Sega's slogan was Sega does what Nintendo don't. Um, and then obviously with PS1 was like Sony trying to get into the market to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything like that's been hyper aggressive since those days, of course. But I do think that there was definitely a war going on, really up through PS4. And the reason I say that is that Nintendo was struggling in a lot of ways. They've managed to hold on, and the Switch has done great for them. I'm super glad to see that that's paid off for them. I was so scared that it wouldn't.
I mean, they've been
Um,
around since the 1800s. It would be devastating if Nintendo just suddenly
well,
had to
I
stop doing
mean,
what they're doing.
and they sit on a big cash egg for, in case something like that were to happen. But with
Hmm.
how bad the Wii U launched and just did in general, it was incredibly concerning if you was a fan of Nintendo about what their future was going to be.
Yeah, it
Um,
was pretty uncertain.
their 3DS didn't sell well at first, but it did pick up a lot of steam. So like their handhelds were doing very good, and thankfully the Switch has captured a more powerful hardware while still being mobile, and I think that's done a lot of good for them, and that they've had some really good first party titles. Um, People are concerned right now with Nintendo not having a lot of first party titles coming out in 2020, but hopefully 2021 is going to be a better year in general for those. And that's not to say that Nintendo hasn't had good titles this year. What with Animal Crossing, um, and then Paper Mario, while it's had kind of mixed reviews on being too easy, or maybe like there shouldn't have even been a battle aspect to the game, stuff like that. Has generally been received well. And then you have Mario Maker 2, which is more niche, but definitely has a really thriving online community with that. Um, but I do think that Sony right now is the place you want to be if you're looking at making new, creative, impactful stories, right? You don't want to be on Xbox. You really don't want to be on Nintendo either. because Nintendo has really good quality on their titles. They're really great, but they're not on the cutting edge of things, right? It just isn't. And then Xbox is a lot more like your super casual, people playing sports games, shooters, media, and a couple exclusives here and there, or the play anywhere market, such as
I
PC.
I disagree. I feel like Xbox is mostly competitive.
I think for competitive shooters, yeah, that's fair. Xbox does have a strong competitive market, but
I was
it,
gonna
it
say, from my understanding, for the most part, Sony is the casual single player experiences.
well, when I say casual, I mean, how do I want to put it? When I am using the term for like casual gamers, these are gamers that you know are kind of surface level like mainstream games, right? Not necessarily like exclusives like God of War, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, not stuff like that. Um, and again, I think like that will kind of change in time as more people get involved in gaming. Because I do feel like you've had a lot of people mature into like liking a larger variety of games from especially like the 360 days, right? But if you want like a sports game or Call of Duty, you're probably playing it on Xbox.
Or you're gonna have more people online.
Yeah, they generally do a little bit better there. But I could be out of touch with that kind of where those markets are. Like I could honestly be quite wrong on that, and I could see it going the other way as well.
I mean, truthfully, as of right now, the online community for Sony or PlayStation has shot up.
Oh yeah,
It's
the
of course
PS4 has been
nowhere near.
huge.
It has. It's nowhere near Xbox because Xbox has had since the 360
You're
to
kind of
build
wrong
up.
actually. Um, the
I mean,
Xbox
like,
One has sold dramatically less than the PS4. So the PS4's online
yes,
community is actually significantly larger right now
but it's not as well
in this
established.
generation. Well, yes, but neither is the Xbox One at this point either, because they lost a ton of people going from 360 to PS4.
But
Um,
people know and recognize Microsoft servers as more reliable. That's what when you think online, most people think, oh, Xbox. That's just typically the mindset. It's either Xbox or because that's just typically how people think. Um, and yes, that's changing. There are a significant larger number of people who are online now for PlayStation because obviously they sold more consoles, so more people are gonna be online for it.
So I want to bring up an interesting argument about that.
Hmm.
Well, yes, PS4 has seemingly sold. I think it's what, like a 3 or 4 to 1 ratio in comparison to the Xbox One.
yeah, I think it's
Hmm.
closer to 4-1 at this point, but
From a lot of what I see, though, a lot of that base doesn't actually buy PlayStation Plus. So I'm not for sure how the actual online communities
that's fair. Like,
differ.
well, what I mean is like there's more adopters into the PlayStation area.
And then
Um,
obviously you have your garbage free to play battle royale people who I know at least on PlayStation for the most part I don't think actually requires PlayStation Plus.
really, huh?
Whereas I know a lot of things for Microsoft they still required gold.
Yeah. Now it
Whereas
looks
I know certain things on PlayStation they're just like, yeah, this game does not require PlayStation Plus.
I know that there's rumors that Xbox Live is not going to be required for online games in the future.
Yeah, I saw that they're getting rid of gold at some point.
Well, there's rumors that. Right now, all we know is that they have stopped offering the 12 months Xbox Live. That's all we
Yeah,
know right now.
that or it could be all the people who were kind of going in and cheating the Game Pass system.
I don't think that's what it is. I really don't.
I mean, I doubt that too, but
I
If I
think
had to wager a guess, it's probably they're going to just focus on merging the two together.
yeah, I think they're really moving towards having that subscription package
yeah.
and having that be how they do most of their business
And
because
honestly, Game Pass is a phenomenal thing, legitimately. For like full front, it's just really well done. Um, it's something that unfortunately Google tried to do and completely failed at, which is really unfortunate.
yeah, I know Stadia still exists right now currently, but I don't have a whole lot of hope for it long term. Um, and really, nor should anyone. Maybe they'll turn it around, but man, I don't know.
Sorry
um,
about that. I missed that. My headset was dying. What were you saying?
I was gonna say I don't think Stadia has like a long term future.
I
Um,
don't think. I mean, with Google, if a project fails within the first few months, they trash it.
yeah,
It
I
just
think
doesn't
it's
come
pretty
back.
much.
So,
I think it's pretty much dead. It's on life support right now.
hmm
It'll eventually kind of go away. Um, I think you'll see, as I said, Game Pass become more part of it, and I think there's going to be other features that will be involved that
hmm
will move into that paid subscription. I bet. Um, it's going to be interesting how they end up treating PC users in the long term of things.
hmm
Especially if they decide to change rates or whatever, or change perks of it.
hmm
Um, so I don't really know how they'll end up doing it. But that being said, really appreciate Game Pass. I like a lot of the games that I've seen has come out on it.
I doubt they're going to change too much with Game Pass potentially.
I think we're going to see cost changes and like possible perk feature changes as well, or maybe like a tiered system more instead of like Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate.
Well, because here's the reason why I state that. I know several smaller developers have actually came out and said their sales increased substantially both on Xbox and like on Switch with their games being on Game Pass.
Well, yeah, because you essentially have a demo of it, but they also, I'm pretty sure, get a kind of like the like playtime, for it and get money for that.
hmm
Um, so it makes sense for people to make good games to put on there.
Yeah,
But
they're more incentivized.
my point is just I doubt Microsoft will want to mess with that balance too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have a really good thing going for themselves right now.
they may not change that a whole lot, but they may change like with like the games with gold that may get moved to Game Pass, especially if they discontinue gold, right?
Well,
hmm
they
Um,
would just be merging them essentially.
Potentially,
They
yeah,
would. They would. What I could see them doing is maybe adding more games to like having the tiered system, like you had mentioned. But for people who have quote unquote gold, they maybe get one or two games a month. And then people who are higher level get, a AAA game and two or three indie games. Something along those lines.
yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of what they do. I hope it does well. I've
Mhm.
been really impressed with Game Pass as just seeing what titles have kind of come to it.
Mhm.
I may not have invested a lot of time in those, but I'm okay with having had like the sport and Game Pass for as long as I have, because I'm like, this is good. This is a really good thing for accessing a lot of games for relatively cheap, and especially if you can't afford to pay $60 a month for a title, drop $15 or whatever it is now, and you can play it for that month. And if you want to buy it, you can get a discount on it.
Mhm.
I think that's a great way of doing it. Um, Long term, we'll see what it does. I know when it first started, people kind of thought it wasn't going to go anywhere, but Microsoft has really went hard on promoting Game Pass as kind of like the future of their platform, and
Yeah,
they've put their titles behind it. You know, they've had Gears 5 on there. They had Gears Tactics. They have the Halo Master Chief Collection.
they had the Outer Worlds, obviously.
Outer
I
Worlds,
don't think they've
Metro
had Gears
Exodus.
Tactics.
No, Gears Tactics is on there.
And didn't they also initially market it as, you could get Game Pass Ultimate for a month for like $2 or something? Like,
You could start it, and through having Xbox Live, if you did that, any Xbox Live
mm-hmm,
time you had would convert to it. I don't know whether that's still a thing or not.
mm-hmm.
But Gears Tactics is definitely on Game Pass. Um, the Gears 5 Ultimate Edition is included with Game Pass Ultimate, whereas
Hey,
Gears 5,
Tyler.
yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna say, like, Gears Tactics is one of those things that it released and basically wet noodled.
Um, Gears Tactics, I think, has actually been received pretty okay. It never got big, but I think people have generally enjoyed the game for a tactics game. Um,
No,
I
it
bel
wet noodled. It wet noodled hard.
did it? I'm pretty sure on Steam it's got positive reviews.
For Xbox One, though, it's still to be announced. It
Yeah, I
wet
mean, it's
noodled
it's
hard.
it's pretty highly rated, admittedly, on Steam,
Wait, are
PC
you saying
Gamer,
it's?
and Metacritic.
Wait, you're saying Gears Tactics isn't on Xbox One?
It doesn't appear to be, because according to GameFAQs, its release date is still to be announced, and I've seen several people mention how there's not much information on it. So I think it's only been a PC release so far,
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
and that's why I said it's wet noodled hard,
Well, I
because
mean,
it's just the PC community.
you say that, but like it's got 3,000 reviews and it's mostly positive, like 76%. Which
Yeah,
Yeah,
but realistically, that might be 8,000 players. That's still a wet noodle.
so I think general rule of thumb is anywhere about 5 to 10% of people will review a game. I think is like the
the general
average.
consensus, yeah.
Um, now I don't know that there's actually anything
I would say a tactics style game is also more uh niche. So
on the Game Pass thing. Looking at the Gears Tactics Windows 10 version, it's got 7K reviews and it is over 4.5 stars when it looks at it. It's probably like 4.8 or something. Um, so it's probably actually did pretty decent. Which don't get me wrong, it surprises me. I didn't imagine it would, right? Um,
well, like, I don't have an issue with it as far as a tactics game is concerned. I have an issue of it probably just hasn't sold enough to be considered anything other than a wet noodle.
I mean, it's probably sold over 100K copies. I would I guess, which I know, like in the scheme of things, isn't huge, but for a tactics style game, I think it's probably pretty okay.
And y'all already know my opinion on tactics games, so
Yeah, I don't think that I'll ever go through and play it. Just because I don't think it's my kind of game. But it does exist, and as a result, hey, um, I love that they've did. I am glad that they did that with like Gears 5 though, and especially the Chief Collection that because it saved me
mm-hmm.
money on Gears 5 because Gears 5 did not release in a good state, and it's still really kind of struggling to get to a good state. So I'm glad I didn't spend $80 on that game. Wasn't worth it.
And honestly,
Um,
that's another good thing about Game Pass. Gives you the opportunity to say, this is not worth the full price. I'm not going to do this. I'm still going to beat it because I have the opportunity to,
See, I
but
find it
I don't want
interesting
to
that you
spend money
try to
on it.
say that Gears 5 isn't necessarily worth it, when from my knowledge you still haven't did the campaign. So
that's true. I have not did the campaign,
I was going to say, come on,
but
Travis,
I
what else?
know how the campaign ends, and I don't feel like going through that experience. Like, meh.
Stop spoiling things for yourself.
Look, it saves me the emotional turmoil being like I wasted my time with this. Um,
so
That's
I
part of the
know.
game, though, man. The gaming experience.
So I know this obviously isn't the best source, but according to Steam Spy, uh, Gears Tactics owners would be 50,000 to 100,000.
Yeah, that would make sense. And then you count Game Pass. Like I would say they're probably close to about 100K. You know, which puts my guess as
Uh,
pretty close.
with today's peak player count being for yesterday, 322.
Well, yeah, it's a
Oof.
tactics game. It's not got an online component. It's a single player experience worth one playthrough. So like it's not meant for that replayability like Gears 5 or Gears 4 is, right? Um,
But my point is, realistically, it's still probably wet noodled.
I mean, honestly, for probably like the cost of it that they've, like let's say they did 100K, what's the cost on Steam? $60. You know,
For a
that's
tactics
potentially
game,
like
good God.
that's like roughly 6 million. Steam takes what 20% of normal titles, or no, Steam takes more than that. Pretty sure, but let's figure like 20% off tactics because it's coming from Microsoft, and that they probably have a better deal going to them. So let's just say 20%. Um, you're looking at what still 4.8 million in revenue from that on just if we're figuring out like roughly 100K. So I mean that's not bad.
Unless they spent 10 million on the game.
Yeah, but I have a I doubt they would have spent that much on a tactics game. I
I was
could be
gonna say, do
wrong.
you really think that they spent that much? If they did, then that's kind of a mistake on their part.
I wonder what the budget for like XCOM 2 is.
Well, okay. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best example, but for instance, for the game Dead by Daylight, the Spirit DLC, which consisted of one killer, one survivor, and like one map,
Mm-hmm.
$10,000 roughly, I believe, is what they. It was $10,000 to $20,000 for making just that one expansion.
Oh yeah, no, like
So,
making games extremely expensive. This, which is why games are partially as expensive as they are to buy. Um,
so trying to make a
but
$60 tactics game, it could easily, in my opinion, end in the 4 to 8 million range, especially if it has full voice acting, blah blah blah.
mm-hmm.
I could see it being expensive, but I'm not sure that it would be that expensive. But obviously, it's hard to kind of say because I mean we're not part of those decisions and/or conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like it's been received well by people who like tactics games because here's the thing: tactic games are very niche, right? They're not super popular by any means, and I think when you're developing for that, you understand that it's not going to be a multi-million-dollar sales game, right? Because it's just not that popular. Like your most popular one would be like XCOM and maybe Banner Saga, maybe, but I can't think
Banner.
of any other like really big tactic games that have come out.
No, because they all flop.
Well, they don't flop, but they're niche. You're not going to make the big money there. Like the Banner
There's an
Saga,
expectation.
right? And you budget for that accordingly because like Banner Saga, that started out as one game and it got two more games in it. Um, so like it apparently did well enough to get sequels. Um,
But that
and
doesn't mean, for instance, that the third one, profit-wise, panned out.
I
No,
mean
of course
it,
not,
it
because markets
probably did.
fluctuate and change.
It,
It did.
it
It's
probably did,
really
it probably
popular.
did okay. But I mean
But
like
the point is that markets fluctuate and they change, but you have to go off the information that you already have. If you see that tactics games don't typically sell, they sell, but they don't sell as well as your typical AAA first person shooter, you're going to budget for that because there's still a market for it. The market's just not as big.
My,
you're
my
gonna
point
you're
about
gonna budget appropriate.
my point about flopping is just it becomes to a point where it's not worth making a sequel. I'm pretty sure that's what happened to Command and Conquer, and most other ones. Is just it got to the point where it was arguably probably just more profitable to support their existing titles rather than develop a new one.
Well, I think there's more to it than that, right? Um, the big thing with like Command and Conquer and stuff like that is again, RTSs are relatively niche titles. And
Extremely niche.
in the time that they were coming out, you had such a plethora of choice in RTSs. Because you had like Battle for Middle Earth 2, Command and Conquer, Supreme Commander. I'm sure there's more. Um, but you had a lot in that console generation that kind of came out that had a limited interest because there was so much choice on there. Um, and you're seeing a resurgence of RTS games, to an extent over the last 5 years. They're still not doing incredibly well, but they're still being made, and you're still getting usually a couple of interesting titles every couple of years or so.
So to throw out what I was also referencing, it looks like the last few Command and Conquer games came out in 2012. There was a mobile game in 2018, and then the like 1 and 2 collection that released this year.
Yeah, and I believe well, I don't know about that collection, but I know part of the issue is like you had the mobile game, and then you had like 4 Tiberium Wars or whatever, or
Tiberium Wars, the Tiberium Twilight, and Tiberium Alliances were like all 2008, 2012.
okay, well, they didn't do well. They had some problems with them, um, which is unfortunate, but that's the way of it. I do think that as years go on, we'll see some more RTS games come out. I know there's been a couple that's come out here in the last couple years that have done okay. I think Grey Goo is a little bit of an older one. I think it did all right. Nothing amazing, but it did pretty okay. Um, with RTSs and tactics games, they're very niche. If you make a good one, it'll do well in that community. You budget for that accordingly. Not saying that they did that with Gears Tactics, but that's what they should do because they're not mainstream enough to garner the support and attraction that some other AAA release would, like with like Tomb Raider or something, right?
Also, from what I can tell, it looks like XCOM has a Chimera Squad coming out in 2020, or it's already released.
Did you just say chimera?
Yes.
Kids, that's not how you pronounce chimera.
I suck at
I
pronunciation.
say Chimera.
It must be genetic.
Because isn't it Chimera or something like
It's
that? Or
it's chimera.
that's why I said Chimera.
You said chimera.
I said Kai first time. Or
No,
whatever.
you didn't.
I don't trust headsets to accurately portray my voice because I hear people say that all the time, and it's like, no, but that's what I said.
That's fair.
2016 for XCOM 2. There was some mobile game. Enemy Within was 2013. The Bureau Declassified was 2013. Enemy Unknown was 2012, and then 2001. It really looks like, for the most part, most tactics games get like 8 to 10 year series gaps.
Well, yeah, XCOM and like the XCOM we have now is very different than the XCOM there was before. But it's really found a place in it. And I think Gears Tactics is similar to XCOM in style of gameplay, instead of like a Final Fantasy Tactics or a Banner Saga Tactics style. But I don't know. It looks like it was received well, and it probably did okay budget wise. I would imagine. Because like if I had to guess, like its budget was probably like 1 or 2 million if I had to guess. And again, I could be very off base, but that'd be my rough estimate.
And we go with Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2. Again, it's about 8 years.
Yeah, I hear that Halo Wars 2 was okay. I haven't, I have it, but I haven't played it.
That's an awkward silence.
Well, I'm trying to look at seeing if I do have Halo Wars in my library.
Can't you just search that?
Well, kind of. I'm trying to see if it's actually on Steam because I thought it was.
Halo Wars 1 should be on Steam.
Yeah, but I was thinking about 2. 2 may only be on the Xbox side of things. That could be. But
Yeah, currently it does not look like Halo Wars 2 has does not have a Steam page.
that's fair. But I wasn't able to find it, which is why there was that silence.
It's almost like you can just Google Halo Wars 2 Steam and first result, Halo Wars Definitive Edition. Second
Well,
result, WindowsMicrosoft.com, buy Halo Wars 2 Microsoft Store.
look, I was looking at it in Steam. I wasn't using Google. I was using Steam.
Then you should have had your result much quicker.
Well, that might be. But the problem was that I was not finding the result. So I'm like, huh, I wonder if I didn't search it right.
You're streaming, right?
Yes, I am streaming.
Can they see the results of your search?
No, currently I'm just using showing my desktop because I don't have a good overlay for us right now. So this is what we're doing. Overlay will be coming in future installments.
Hey, can I give you a tip? Don't ever show Steam search results.
That's fair. Steam has a lot of garbage on there right now, and probably will forevermore.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they've also decided that to allow not safe for work games that may or may not get you flagged.
Yeah, not gonna do that. Is there any other big gaming news? I know that apparently G4 is coming back, which has people shocked to say the least.
Can we get that in English?
Do you know what G4 is, Bree?
No.
Okay, I don't
I
know
mean,
a
I
ton
probably
about it.
do to some extent, but
So I don't know a ton about it. Caveat right there. It was before my time to an extent.
okay.
But G4 is what used to be the gaming TV channel.
Oh, no one cares about that
okay.
garbage.
But they did put out a thing saying that they've never stopped playing.
Interesting.
So apparently G4 is coming back to some capacity, which
Probably YouTube
yeah,
or
it
Twitch.
almost has to be YouTube or Twitch. I could see them doing stuff with like speedrunning communities, competitive communities, stuff like that. So there might actually be a market for them to come back to.
I mean, truth be told, that is true. There are a lot of review channels that exist on YouTube right now. Admittedly, there are a lot, but the market, in my opinion at least, isn't overly saturated. So there exists a space where they can manage as long as things are marketed correctly, as per the norm.
Yeah, I think there is a market for them potentially, especially having a organized player in the field
Mm-hmm.
because, frankly, several organized players in the field this past year have just got slaughtered because of allegations and accusations and other issues with how they handle employment and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's actually several vacancies in the market that they could come in and potentially really snatch up and steal space in, especially if they do it well. And I think it has a lot of nostalgia for people, especially older gamers.
You mean
Yeah.
weebs?
People who are, probably about.
Did you just say weebs? I am insulted. I am disrespected, and I demand an apology. How dare you, sir?
I wouldn't be abusive if I didn't insult and abuse people.
He has a point. But I do think like gamers probably about 5 to 10 years older than us probably has some nostalgia for it. So they may also have a place with those people depending how they do content. So if they do their programming right and get it figured out, I wish them the best because the more stuff you can do in the field, the better it is for the community. It really is.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think that there's really a whole lot of other news in the gaming space right now. Do you guys
Nothing
know
new,
of
at least.
anything?
Nothing new.
Do you have anything, Travis?
No.
Okay. So we're gonna go and just go through some of the stuff that's come to Xbox Game Pass recently, just to kind of see what they've added, especially since it's a little bit topical for us at the moment. But we'll probably do this weekly, I think, just to kind of apprise people what's being added to the platform and what's currently on there.
I don't think you have enough content to do this weekly.
Well, we'll see.
We're in the middle of a pandemic.
If there is content to add to this list weekly, we will go over it weekly. If not, we'll do it as.
We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Well,
I mean, there are
yeah,
other things that we could talk about as well.
but we'll cover it when it's applicable. How's that? They have added golf with your friends, which isn't anything new or spectacular, but it exists. They apparently do have carrion on there, so apparently that's where I'm going to be playing this game because that's going to get played now. I was going to maybe wait on it for $20, like for a shorter experience. I'm not sure that's worth it for me right now with money situations as they are. But being on Game Pass, yeah, no, that's pretty much a gameplay now. They have Forager. Go ahead.
That's pretty much a gameplay play now.
Guaranteed gameplay. I think that's what he was going for.
It's pretty much guaranteed I'm going to play it now.
So a guaranteed play.
Yes, okay.
Not
guaranteed
whatever you just
play.
said.
Fair enough. I'm unhappy about it, but fair enough. They have Forager. Halo 3 was added to the Master Chief Collection. Neon Abyss is also on that list of games that they have added. So again, I'm probably going to play it now. They have the unfortunate privilege of having Fallout 76 PC edition on there.
So wait, what I'm understanding is the real reason why your wish list no longer has a ton and a half of garbage is you just play the garbage for free from Game Pass.
For the most part.
Look, these games are probably not garbage. They're probably fairly decent. But there is a reason why I don't add as many things to my wish list sometimes.
Sometimes.
They have Out of the Park Baseball 21 and Endless Space 2 Deluxe Edition. So that looks like what they currently have on there for the new editions. And honestly, it does seem like they add new games, about every week or two to add a decent number of games. Like they had Ori and Will of the Wisps, they had that on
Well,
launch,
yeah,
which is a big title
it is a
in
very
all
big title.
honesty.
Wow, gee, it's like most first-party Xbox stuff, and I'm pretty sure at this point Ori is pretty much first-party Xbox.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I hadn't ever
I'm
heard
pretty sure
that.
it's on the Switch.
Yeah, no,
But I'm still
I think it's just it's independent. I think I don't think it's
Ori and the Blind Forest was Xbox One, PC, Xbox 360. Will of the Wisps, Xbox One, PC, Xbox Series X.
hmm,
Only Blind Forest Definitive Edition is also on Switch. Its
Oh,
publisher
what do you
is
know?
Microsoft, and its developer is Moon Studios. So it is literally probably owned by Microsoft
huh.
since they're the publisher.
You know, that's fair. Um, I didn't know that. Really didn't know that. Huh.
The more you know.
Yeah. Really. They do also have Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which we was talking about earlier. That is also on there. So that's the games that they have on there right now. Really kind of covers that. Let's talk about what we've been playing last couple weeks since this is the first edition of the podcast. Bree, what have you been playing?
A lot of Killing Floor 2. Some Doom. Xenoblade on the Switch, because I got the definitive edition forever ago. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that game is fucking great and it has a lot of replayability, in my opinion. I definitely enjoy that game, and I eagerly await the next edition. Very
Have
much
fun
so.
waiting 2.5 years.
Look, as long as I'm alive, I will wait for that damn game and its other installment.
It is
I
probably
just
going
say
to be
that
two and a
because
half
I
years.
recently saw a headline stating Part 2 entered full development, or is now
Well,
in full development. And it's just
what
like,
I read was that it's been in full development. It's just harder to work on because, there's a pandemic. So it's been in development for a little while now. It's just harder to work on because of the situation at hand.
yeah, I'm just saying, if we base anything off of Part 1, which took like 4 years, in theory, Part 2 is only 2.5 years.
Let's be honest, part 1 took more like 15 plus. Let's be honest.
No, if it took 15 plus, they would just retitled it Final Fantasy 16.
True. True. Very true.
It'll be interesting to see how long the gaps between the game series are. I hope it won't be two and
Mm-hmm.
a half years per title. I think that becomes excessive and a disservice to your fans. But I do know that people
Yeah.
really like the first one, that they really
And
enjoyed it.
truth be
But
told, if that's just the development process to make a good quality game, then people are just gonna have to deal with the wait. Because it's either you deal with the wait or you're gonna have to make a game like 15.
yeah, I
I
mean,
enjoyed
it's
15. I loved 15, but there were a lot of issues with it.
yeah, and I'd always rather wait longer for a better game than not.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. It might do okay. They might actually fulfill their obligations and what they say they're going to do. I don't know, but they might.
Look, as long as they stay on the track of the first game, I feel like they'll do fine. Because again, in my personal opinion, the remake was phenomenal and I loved it. It was
See,
highly enjoyable.
I just have an issue with the remake where it's going to go from this point.
Yeah, it deviates a lot from the original story. It really does.
Like,
Um,
okay, full disclaimer, haven't played it yet. But okay, so Midgar is a very controlled segment that it makes sense to do as a standalone part.
mm-hmm.
So what's part 2 covering up to? Are we going to Temple of the Ancients? Are we just hitting like uh the whatever the golden thing is called? Golden saucer? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where is the part where we're now traveling across the open world, cutting off at? Are we just going to be crossing the ocean and then wait for the rest in part 3?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely hard to say, especially since it's deviating so much story-wise from the original game. Um,
Are we
there's a
even
lot
going to
that
get
they
to play
can
on the
do.
world, or is it just going to be like controlled set pieces where it's just like, well, enjoy a cutscene of us traveling across the swamp with the oh, what it's whatever the thing's name is that begins with a Z beta that's like level 25 and it's a death snake.
Yeah, like there's a lot of room for them to do amazing things with, but there's also a lot of room for them to mess it up.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm curious how they're going to handle it. Like, are we going to actually get a walk around and do that stuff, or is
hmm
some of that just okay? We're relegating this to cutscene.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, as you said, like there's a lot of, it's a very high risk, high reward scenario they've put themselves in, and that should
And
concern
before
them.
Northern Crater is part final,
hmm
just literally let's make the last dungeon the literal entire final part.
Oh God, that would be depending on how well it's done.
Even you don't
Again,
believe this, I can hear it.
well, again, it really just depends on how it's executed. If they do it well enough, then I might be able to excuse it. If
No,
they goof
they
it
would
up
need more
somehow,
content
then
than
it's
just literally the last dungeon.
well, yes.
Just a hair more content.
Unless they decide to put an entire town in said dungeon, which that's a mistake and a half. But my point stands. It all depends on how it's done,
Hey,
really.
hey, Final Fantasy V put a town in a dungeon. You just couldn't talk to any of the people there, but they did put a town in it.
You know,
Look, Final
I
Fantasy
guess that's
V
fair.
isn't. That's not exactly where I would look to
Five is
examples of what you should do.
5 is fantastic.
I'll say I think
For
Travis has played it multiple
You,
times.
he's played all of the
no,
Final Fantasy.
from my understanding, with Final Fantasy Record Keeper, basically 5 was so popular in Japan that most other Final Fantasy characters get the short end of the stick in that mobile game due to the popularity of 5 in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing that one out there. That 5 is fantastic. I'll be back.
Mic drop. No, I don't know. Final Fantasy V wasn't a favorite, but
4 and 5 are both considered really pretty solid.
I personally
Now,
liked 3, but a lot of people hated 3. So, I mean,
well,
what's that say?
are you talking about 3 or are you talking about 6?
I'm talking about 3 with Lunith.
Yeah, so I think that's like the actual proper 3 because you have like Final
Yeah,
Fantasy 6, which
yeah,
is known as 3 as over here,
yeah.
and 6 is loved.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know nothing about Lunith's story. Nothing. I've heard pretty
I
much
love
nothing
Lunith.
about it. I know, here's the Final Fantasies that I know anything about: 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, a little bit, 7, 10, 12, 13,
You didn't do
14,
anything with
and
11? Even I did something with 11. God help me for that.
it was an MMO back in the days where I didn't have the means of playing an MMO.
That's
Um,
fair.
like, you know, MMOs just weren't a thing in my life at that point, and they're still not a thing in my life because I don't have the time for them. So no, I'm good not playing an MMO. I just don't have the attention
I mean, you
span.
played 14 at some point,
I
and you
did.
played a lot of
I
it.
played a lot of 14. I believe I have 300 some odd hours on that game according to Steam. Let's minus 20 of that, but I think I'm still around like 340 hours.
Have you, and you know nothing about 9. That's unfortunate. I liked the Dawn.
I know nothing about really 8 or 9. Those are two Final Fantasy games that I really have no idea about.
Hmm.
I remember playing a very small amount of Final Fantasy Tactics for the GBA because I
Mm-hmm.
remember a snowball fight scene.
Mhm.
And I think I remember a little bit about it for the PlayStation 1, I
Mhm.
think. But I know more about Chocobo Dungeon for the PlayStation 1 than I do Final Fantasy Tactics for either of them.
Of course you
So,
do. I mean, chocobos are great, so that's fine.
right. Um, not the best mystery dungeon game, but it's a mystery dungeon game. I still think the best mystery dungeon games are probably Azure Dreams were the ones that I enjoyed the most
Mhm.
from back then. Not that there was many, but
Mhm.
those would be the ones. And then nowadays, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series would be the closest to that. And they did remake Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue, as like just the version on Switch. So that's nice.
Mhm.
Glad to, and they do have the Chocobo Mystery Dungeon game on Switch.
That they do.
So I look forward to seeing more Mystery Dungeon games come out. I hope that they will remake the other Pokemon ones, and I hope that they'll actually just make a new one as well.
I'm sure they'll get around to it
Well,
eventually.
just I I apologize. I have a bottle over there to my side that just popped.
That's
Um,
concerning. I mean, I didn't hear it, but
yeah, I don't know, but it definitely popped a little bit. That is going to get exercised later. I don't trust it. Do not trust it. I'm surprised the dog didn't come in here and take a look.
he's sleeping
Is
right
he?
outside your door. Yeah, he's curled up sleeping.
Nah, that's about what he does. That makes sense.
He's a sleepy boy.
Um, and then you said uh Xenogears. So I've not played Xenogears. I really know nothing about Xenogears. How would you describe it as far as gameplay?
Is, do you mean Xenosaga?
They're not the same thing, are they?
I don't think so. No. I mean,
Let,
Xenogears
let,
is a thing. Actually,
let
they might actually be. Yeah, they are. But different. What you're talking about is Xenosaga for the Switch.
Yeah,
Um,
Xenogears is for like PlayStation 1 era.
PlayStation One. Yeah.
Man, I I really went back for
You
that, didn't
are
I?
you are about 22 years too far back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That came out in like 98.
Yeah, February 11th, 1998. That's what the Google page says. Well,
So
that's
truth be
awkward.
told, thankfully I knew what you were talking about. Truthfully, I would say the gameplay is something akin to like 12, Final Fantasy 12. I'm not honestly a big fan of that style of combat. I'm very picky about my combat styles. I either like to shoot things in the face, clobber them with swords and or keyblades, or just, pummel the ever loving out of something. Those are just the things I like to do. Um, but with Xenosaga it's somewhat unique. For me personally, it's a little hard to explain because I'm terrible at descriptive words, but it is a game that I do suggest to a lot of people, honestly, because the story is compelling enough that I can look past the combat. Which is why there's a second one and people love the game. Like, it's just one of those things. But should people buy it? Absolutely. Is it something that I'm going to put a lot of hours into? Yeah, probably, because I have the patience of a gnat, in which it takes me a little bit to play things that I'm not exactly enjoying fully. Um, Take Final Fantasy VII, for instance. The remake took me 24 hours to beat that game. Um, but a game that takes more effort would probably take me more around 30 to 40. But
You
that's just
realize
me.
you just set the implications that you didn't enjoy the 7 remake fully.
No, when I enjoy a game, I beat it quickly. That's just how I work. If I like a game enough, I will beat it very quickly. Just how it is. I'm the opposite of most people.
Yeah.
I mean, take Kingdom Hearts, for instance. Kingdom Hearts 2. My fastest playthrough of that game, 19 hours. And I've played that game several times.
It sounds like you suck if it still takes you 19 hours.
Look, there's a lot of cutscenes, okay?
Are they skippable?
Not all of them.
Oh, so is that in-game time or just real time?
In-game time.
Intriguing. Okay.
So, what have you been playing, Travis?
I mean, I've been dominating a farming market.
Have you been
Okay.
playing... No, never mind. You said farming, not turnips.
Same
Well,
difference.
He's not
You
wrong.
don't understand the amount of turnips I grow.
He's got a point.
Oh, Travis, if only you put that
Turnip
much
Club.
energy into actual farming.
All joking aside, one time I was playing Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance. Decided, well, okay, back in that version, you couldn't walk over the plants you've planted. So if you grew a group of 9, you had to have an upgraded watering can to water the middle. Otherwise, you could just water the 8 surrounding ones. Well, long story short, I had an upgraded watering can. So I just, one line between the sets of 9. Just one line between sets of 9. All the way across the field. Worst mistake I ever made. Because
That sink in.
use full backpack space and the basket that you could fill up. It still took me 2.5 days to harvest all of them.
Good God almighty.
It's like I can't do anything other than plop, plop, plop,
Harvest
plop.
turnip.
Yeah, this is the kind of decision making that goes on in his head.
Well, I mean, it's only like, I think it was something close to like 50 to 60 gold per turnip. You only have to multiply it by like 300 turnips or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I made a killing.
But you wasn't friend with the harvest sprites, were you?
No, I mean, I was.
You just didn't have them, harvesting with you?
No.
You should know, he does things the hard way.
He really
Whether
does.
it's on purpose
No.
or it's a genetic default, we don't know.
It's
No.
genetic default.
No. Just because the short little people that only your character can see are willing to help you doesn't mean I choose to have them be anything other than my little waters, because I don't have time to water that many plants.
Yeah, no. There was no way you had enough time for that.
I mean,
Good
I,
God.
I I actually really did have enough time to water all of that.
Incoming dog, he may harass you, Tyler.
Yeah, I have the dog in here with me right now.
The mythic watering can legit waters like 40 tile spaces at once.
Still.
Good God.
It takes like 5 attempts at watering the field and you're done.
Good God almighty.
Now, so you've played Story of Season, Friends of Mineral Town, and that's what you've been playing right now. But you also have been playing Neo 2, you were saying?
Yeah,
How do you like Neo 2?
it's fine.
In-depth discussion, I see.
What do you expect from me?
I don't know.
Better.
Some kind of thought.
I'm simple man. I see yokai, I kill yokai.
You are not simple by any means.
No, he's simple.
He's about as simple as you are. I mean, you're a simple 10, but good God.
That's just mean.
I say it with affection. You're my precious little idiot.
Bree, my stats are great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Please, tell us what your stats are.
It's like 20, 11, 9, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 77. Not at all lopsided.
Yep. And you somehow have more armor than our friend Eric, right?
Yeah.
Let that sink in. The guy that's went pure magic has more armor than the non-pure magic build.
Oof.
I also have talismans to buff my defense and block a flat percentage of, well, a flat amount of damage,
As you do.
which I'm also pretty sure scales off of my magic power.
Probably.
Well then.
Yeah.
My weapon
Ah,
also scales
goodness.
off of magic. So I'm doing proper stat investments. While literally wearing a armor set that gives me the set bonus for Yokai Slayer.
You need help.
I mean, you do too, but hey, it's a genetic default.
And to make it better, I have my armor changed to make it look like I'm wearing shinobi armor. Because
Ninja.
who doesn't like ninjas?
Apparently, every person who has ever hated Naruto.
So my brother.
Tyler, do you hate Naruto? We need to have a discussion, friend.
I got nothing for or against Naruto.
Okay. I'll accept a neutral stance.
But
But just
Tyler,
this once.
ninjas.
What about it?
They're great, man.
How do you plan to appease your ninja overlords?
So I've learned I can do something new with windows just now. Apparently, if you shake a window, it will minimize everything on that side of the screen.
Why are you shaking your windows?
Well, I
Tyler.
wasn't intending to. I just kind of
Why are
did.
you just now learning this?
I don't know. It was
Aren't
never...
you an Apple user? What are you talking about?
Still doesn't mean I don't know about window features.
You knew about that?
Nope.
Yeah. It's not a feature I would ever use because I only ever have one window open.
We won't talk about my situation.
The travesty that is your internet, Tyler.
My
Your internet browser. Yes, your internet browser.
Look, it's
Sorry,
been
I have the
fine
dog
lately.
trying to get up on the bed. Lately? How many tabs do you have?
I've got 4 open.
In what browser?
Both. 4 in each.
Really?
So 8.
I feel like you're lying to me.
I'm not.
I'm pretty sure he just said 4 each.
I
So
did.
it's 8.
Yeah.
But
So
One
you
in
are a
Firefox, one in
liar.
Chrome, I assume.
yes. Normally, currently I only did it again. How is
Stop
this?
shaking.
How? So by
Why are you shaking your window? Stop it.
by shaking, it's really just moving a window up and down. So I'm moving a window up and down over my stream thing.
So you wonder how in the world I discovered that feature.
Well, I've never discovered it in the last 5 years of using Windows 10 until just now. So
That could be also a newish thing, maybe?
I also fidget a lot. I'm not for sure
No,
if you guys
dog.
have ever actually noticed me when I'm playing. I like to run in a circle if we're just sitting there and do nothing.
I do that too. I also jump. I can jump. Leave my juice alone.
I was gonna say, I've also realized while playing terrible JRPGs that if there's a jump button and your character says something along the lines of jump or anything, I will just, as I'm running around the field, jump, 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 jump.
I do that too.
It's also a bad habit I picked up during Oblivion when you had to level acrobatics by jumping.
yeah,
Just jump everywhere you go.
Yeah, no, like that. You really just learn to jump literally everywhere.
So I always appreciate when games have characters who are just like, jump. It's like, yes. I've got my content for the next 40 hours.
Look, you laugh, but We spent some serious hours jumping in Oblivion.
I believe you. I believe you.
And
Any
my
other?
brother still doesn't remember the most valuable lesson Oblivion ever taught him.
What if you jump high enough you can damage yourself when you land?
No, I'm the one who learned that. Always make sure to read if something says save or load.
God, I hate you. I am still so bitter about that experience of mine.
20 years later. I'm joking. It hasn't been 20 years, but still.
Been about 10.
Hey, it's not my fault you don't keep 2 saves.
I do now.
If I start grumbling, ignore me. I'm being harassed by my dog. Dog, stop.
But no, it's actually funny because, okay, so proficiency, from what I can tell in Neo, works by a simple rule of thumb. The more damage you do, the more proficiency you build up. You just gotta hit stuff and deal damage. So, if my proficiency with my weapon, the Switchglaive, is, hypothetically speaking, let's say 290,000. To take the Mystic Art training mission, you need 120,000. How much proficiency do you think our friend had built up across his 2 weapons that he had used?
Not nearly enough.
Well, one would think somewhere around the 120, 140,000 mark. Roughly half of yours.
But why? Why would you assume it's half of mine?
Because you're you.
Because he's using 2 weapons.
Well, across both weapons, he was literally at 125,000
Like all the
combined.
combined? Okay. He must have been really upset about that.
No, I was just like, I am literally doing all of our damage. And I don't understand how. I don't understand how I get that big of a lead. Especially not when Switchglaive has a garbage Mystic Art.
Well, you know, you're
You've played
you.
you've played Neo, Tyler, so you understand basically what I'm about to say. So the Switchglaive's Mystic Art basically revolves around, I need to attack once, assuming the attack was not blocked. I then have to change stance to high or low stance from, let's say, mid stance. Attack one time, change stance again, key pulse, attack, change stance, and I need to get that up to a stack of 5 and then press and hold square to perform the Mystic Art, or just keep changing stances and keep the stack of 5. And that either increases my attack power or it decreases key consumption based off of how high the stack is.
That sounds like a garbage mechanic.
It is garbage, and you have like 10 seconds to land another hit with the switch stance attack. Otherwise, you lose all of your stacks.
That. Okay.
It's just, you gotta keep pushing. Gotta keep pushing. What's that? You're being shot? Don't care. Keep pushing.
That, you know, to be fair, it matches your personality.
Yeah.
It's also why I'm wearing armor that provides literally no protection.
I'm not sure that part makes sense, Travis.
Well,
It's because he's Travis.
no, actually, it's because in Neo, depending on what your agility, aka your weight tier is, attacking takes more ki.
Right.
So I need my attacks to take as little ki as possible, because I'm basically, if I switch stances twice, that is literally like 75 to 80% of my ki bar.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like I have to stay like weight tier 1 and make sure I don't ever miss a ki pulse while being hyper aggressive.
How. You must apparently be able to do this semi well, otherwise, you would not be doing all of your damage. That's insane.
There's a reason I prefer fighting yokai. They don't block.
You know, that's fair. That's very fair. Um, I am so sorry for you, and I'm so sorry for our friend having to deal with you.
Well, I'm doing great. It's not like I fail at dodging every yokai grab. Like every single one of them.
I'm guessing you do fail to avoid every single one of them.
Oh, it's pretty bad. It's also funny because I do better when he's not around.
Sounds familiar.
It's like me fighting 1 versus 3, just who knows where on the stage. Does just fine. The second he walks up, axe to the face. Every time he shows up, and it's just like, I swear I do worse when you're around me.
It's like you just being here makes it go horribly wrong.
And I know why it is. It's I'm extremely good, I think, about manipulating enemy AI. That I lose the ability to do the second there's a second person to throw in a wild card. 2, I try to be conscious of where other people are and not evading into them. AKA, I think I'm good at avoiding cleaving people. So the issue is me trying to avoid cleaving people just gets me hit.
That's fair.
Whereas everyone else just wants to evade directly on top of me, and I'm just like, why are you parking your butt on top of me?
It's like, please move your butt from my space.
I'll be right back.
Have you played any other games or just those two last week or two?
Mostly just those two.
Okay. Like you, I've played Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. That's been up on the stream. Look forward to playing more of that. I might play some of that over the weekend, maybe.
That's going to be another one of those games you don't beat.
I mean, there's not really beating that game.
There's credits.
Yeah, but that's what, like after year 3 or year 5?
No, marriage.
Oh, is it really? Huh.
I'm pretty sure it's marriage for that. Uh, you just basically game over in the old versions if you didn't take care of your farm. But it takes literally less than a year to get the farm to an acceptable point to pass.
Yeah, I know last I left off is I need to clear my farm of all the debris. I need to do that.
I highly recommend waiting until you get the mythic tools. Not mythic tools, mithril tools.
Well, that's fair, but I need to like level up my tools.
Yeah, it's called the stumps that are not on your farm. And the
Well,
boulders that are on your farm.
I mean, what's the difference of waiting?
You waste less energy because the ones on your farm seemingly take more hits.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's really dumb.
I don't know that I noticed that, but
The stumps, at least for me, took more hits. The rocks were the same.
I'll say I don't have an upgraded axe right now, so
How have
I've been doing very little lumber chopping.
instant cash flow? Those things sell for 25 each.
Okay, buying them is 50 each.
Well, you don't worry about buying them.
But
You
what
just
about house upgrades?
you can literally sell like 400 lumber and still buy both house upgrades by the end of autumn.
Well, that might be, but like so far, I've not done that.
I've also got the chicken upgrade, like the chicken coop upgrade,
I have not
and
done
I've
that.
sold like 400 wood. Stone is actually easier to get.
Yeah, stone is
My
super easy
turn.
to get. Welcome back.
Please tell me you guys aren't talking
Talking about what?
Brave Exvius.
Not yet.
No.
Oh, thank God.
I'm telling him he should be selling wood and stone.
Are you talking about the
Story of Seasons.
Yes, that game.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game. Fight me.
I mean, I have it for Switch. I just haven't played it yet.
It's pretty fun.
I
I
like
got the
Harvest.
milkshake cow. It's so cute. It's very tiny, but I got him.
It's not a
Game.
milkshake cow.
Strawberry milkshake cow.
It's a strawberry milk cow.
It's strawberry milkshake cow.
Hey, did you guys know there's cows that produce coffee milk?
Yeah, apparently. I'm
Coffee
like,
milk cows. They need to have a collection of the cows. They do. I will buy every single one. I need full-size plushies of these cows. I love
There's
cows.
also a fruit milk cow.
yeah. Sure is.
So the dog is eyeing the milkshake. I'm gonna call it a milkshake cow because it's a strawberry milkshake.
Okay,
And
but it's
my
also
dog
like
is eyeing
baby
it hardcore.
sized.
It is.
You
It's so
probably
tiny.
shouldn't shake it.
How else am I supposed to get a milkshake? Come on, man. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's perfect for shaking.
But it's also very childlike.
It is very tiny. You can't have my cow, dog. Be gone with you. You also can't have my juice. Get out of here.
I've also
Damn dog.
played Creeper World 3 Arc Eternal some more. That was a fun revisit. Spent some time learning weird mechanics and really grinding out some stages that took a while.
It's called Don't Be Bad.
I don't think you can be that quick on that game. Like, if you go quick, like, you just get killed.
Myrtleized.
But you shouldn't be stating grinding out stages.
No, but, like, each stage is a grind. Like, your least grindy part is when you're first establishing a base and you're trying to hope to hold back the, mountain of
You
creeper.
shouldn't be hoping. You shouldn't be hoping. You should
It's
have that
100%
on
hoping.
lock.
No, it's 100%
You should have
hoping.
that on lock.
Look, when you barely have enough energy coming in to build things, you're hoping.
Because you are bad.
I'm sorry, have you played and beat that game?
No. I've got
Okay.
better things to do with my time.
Hmm.
Yeah, like talk shit.
I think I would prefer to try and learn how to beat Sekiro rather than play that.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to it. Like, I'm not gonna play Sekiro until either Game Pass or Humble Bundle gives it. I'll play it then.
Yeah, I'm not particularly keen on buying it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. If I get
I
given
just
it
want
or
Ghost of Tsushima. That's all I want. Sekiro can bite it. I want Ghost of Tsushima.
What, with its mandatory loss right in the beginning of the game?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Wouldn't be the first game I played with a mandatory loss.
Mandatory losses are dumb.
Probably, but hey, man. I want it.
I don't care for mandatory losses.
That's just because you only like to win.
No, I'm a fan of bad tactics like fielding one mage versus 9 people with swords.
yeah,
You
that's
are a
the
very
thing you
big
did.
fan of fielding bad tactics. Terrible, terrible tactics that shouldn't work but do for you somehow.
All you have to do is overlevel people.
I'll say there was 9 dead swordsmen after that and 0 dead mages.
Look, I'm a chronic underleveler. It is a terrible habit of mine.
So do I. That's why I specifically try not to flee in JRPGs anymore, because I just end up horribly underleveled and it doesn't work.
Yeah, there's been a few times he's like, I've got myself into a situation that I don't know if I can get myself out of.
Hey, if you know you can get yourself out of a situation, you are overleveled.
I don't think that's the way that works. What are you playing, Travis?
What? Nothing? Why would I be playing something? What are you talking about?
Well, I think I'm hearing button presses.
No, you're hearing controller spaghetti.
So you are playing something. Are you playing Neo?
Yes, with the TV
Of
mute.
course.
Who needs audio?
You're just playing it super casually while having conversations.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's what you do, man. That's what you do.
Well, I mean, at least we know my brother is full of spaghetti.
You should try playing Neo, Tyler, and every basically time you land an attack, hit R1 plus X and triangle, attack R1 plus whatever.
No, that sounds way too complicated for me.
Yeah, it's controller spaghetti. It's
Yeah,
literally just controller
I know
spaghetti.
how well that would go, and it's not well.
So being able to do it with any modicum of success while also being able to speak and key pulse and guard and evade is a fantastic talent that, for whatever reason, does not actually apply any real world benefits.
You know,
I mean, multitasking is a thing.
Except I suck at real world multitasking.
Oh,
he's
Travis.
got a point.
It's so bad. I don't understand
Yet
how
again, the travesty rears his ugly face.
I don't understand how I can be so great at multitasking in a game with completely garbage mechanic stuff, yet be bad at real world multitasking. It's like,
Honestly, it
oh,
makes no sense.
it's like you asked me a question. Oh, great! You just made me forget literally everything about the subjects that you just asked me about.
That's healthy.
That's rough, bruh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what goes on this? Beats me. I don't know. Don't ask me questions. I'm a fantastic person who's not at all broken. If you think I'm
You are a
broken,
fully functioning adult.
be quiet. Your opinions are irrelevant.
Functioning
That's what
and
I've.
adult are two words that apply, but I'm not sure to him.
They apply just separately and never at the same time.
You know, I'll give you that.
They are indeed mutually exclusive.
And then I've also played Endless Space for a day, but I played it like all day, or not Endless Space, Endless Legend, and I played as the Mycara, which are essentially a fungal species. And yeah, I played that.
Gross.
I played that for like a 12 to 13 hour period throughout a day, just nothing
Did you
but that.
succeed?
Yes, I did win. I'm not sure I'll really go back to it. I had fun with it, but 4X games are, I don't know. I've got issues
See,
with 4X games.
I've noticed something. You seem to like playing bad games that are just massive time sinks.
I mean,
It
he
does
played a lot of
happen.
Cookie Clicker in our early years together, so
Oh
yeah.
yeah, Cookie Clicker. Miss those days.
I don't.
You can just go back to it. It's
I
still
could.
there.
No,
You know what? You're right. I bet there's been updates since then.
you are not allowed.
You don't got that power.
I will hide our internet modem. You will not be allowed.
Why would you do that?
Okay, just because you're hiding the PS5 doesn't mean anything.
I don't have that yet, so I mean our actual internet modem.
He'll buy a second one.
You better not. I will fight you.
I could just play it on my phone.
I will turn your phone off. No, you're not allowed.
I can connect it to the Wi-Fi somewhere else in the
Not
world.
if I hide the internet modem,
I said in the
'cause it won't
world.
be plugged in. No, you're not allowed.
But wait,
Look, it's bad enough you're playing League already.
Question. If you hide the internet modem and it's not plugged, how are you going to do Killing Floor?
I could live without Killing Floor. Or I could go and harass one of my friends and stay at her house.
But at which point he can just buy a replacement modem while you're not around.
I'd find it. He's terrible at hiding things. I'd come home and be like, Tyler, what's this new internet connection?
I
I don't know
don't
what
think
you're talking about, Brie.
I don't think it's that he's terrible at hiding things. I think it's that he just doesn't try to hide things.
That's generally it. Yeah.
Mm.
Because have you seen him try to hide in games? He likes to hide in plain sight.
I don't generally try hiding games though.
I was gonna say I've never seen him hide in a game.
It's because I don't like stealth games.
Hey, until you one-shot a dragon with a dagger in Skyrim, I don't want to hear you say you don't like stealth. You sneeze and the dragon senses you.
Yeah, but like you had really high stealth, so apparently you were stealthy enough for that not to matter.
Yeah, it's called you take a really long side-about route, walk half a step, don't move. Walk half a step, don't move. The dragon gets up and starts flying around. Don't move and hope you're hidden behind a wall well enough.
I still remember the time you was so stealthed in Oblivion that you was pushing on an ogre.
No, no. That's not quite how it went. It
Oh,
kind
sorry,
of went
was
that
that
way.
ogre pushing you?
Yeah, the ogre was just walking into me, and then I started pushing it back.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Nothing
yeah,
there.
you want to play this game? Push us back.
Nothing there. I'm just moving backwards of my own accord.
And
That's
I didn't
normal.
even
Oh,
have to use
this wind must
chameleon.
be very strong today.
It was in a cave.
I mean, caves have wind.
Yeah, but enough wind to push an ogre.
Yeah, it's exceptionally strong today. Just like the wind that murdered that guard.
It's like, huh, weird. The wind
Must have
caused
been
a
the
stab
wind.
wound.
Interesting.
See, my favorite thing in Skyrim was the time that I was trying to get a bounty of 9,000 in all of the not like 7 or 9 holds for the achievement. Guard, hey, you have a bounty of let's say 6,000. Are you going to go to jail, pay, or resist arrest? Obviously, I pick resist. I immediately crouch and try to stab him with my dagger. Well, apparently he lost track of me when I crouched. I slit his throat. I killed the last witness and lost my bounty.
Smooth.
I think there's a lesson to be learned there,
Don't
but
kill every witness if you're trying to get a bounty.
I'm not for sure what the lesson would be. It must be you get away from with it if you kill all the witnesses.
I mean, yeah, typically.
I think what he's trying to say is murder is okay if you kill enough.
I mean, if, as my mom used to say, it's not illegal unless you get caught.
Hey, never mind. Bloodlust is not okay. I was gonna make a joke, decided it was probably not appropriate.
Well
then,
do you thirst for that blood?
No,
do you crave those minerals?
no.
That meme.
Because again, I have issues with blood, and I actually don't like seeing people get hurt. It's funny that people wonder if I have problems. And it's like, but I'm a good person. Why do I have to make this argument?
The
Hey,
fact
you're
that
a
you have
great
to make
person,
this
bro.
argument says a lot. It's like,
Yeah.
and the fact that you're like, I'm a good person. Why do you accuse me of these terrible things?
I don't know. I've seen the way you play games.
Right.
What's that supposed to mean?
I've seen you play games.
Look, Jess, you play games like a psychopath.
There's a reason why this is called healer's abuse.
It's like one of the bosses in Neo. Our friend was just literally going on like, what is this fight? What is this fight? I'm just being dragged by the boss as it rotates. Me, yeah, don't complain about this fight being hard until you fight this thing without me here rotating it constantly. Because it was literally if either of us died, we couldn't be revived, and the other one would have to finish the fight. So I'm just fighting the thing, rotating it in a circle. It's not attacking, it's just trying to rotate after me. As I just combat dive constantly, because if I'm in mid stance and switch to low stance, I just dive forward, and I was diving around it.
know how to break games.
I do. Just because I beat a horse and it landed on its neck with a mace that did paralysis means nothing.
Sure,
Yeah,
it
I'm
doesn't.
absolutely
innocent,
nothing.
I tell you. I'm innocent.
Innocent's a
joking.
word. I'm
Not a
not
word I would
sure
apply
if
to you, but yeah.
And then one time in Oblivion, I decided I was going to murder a bunch of guards with a what was it? A dark seducer's cudgel or something. Basically, it's a mace. So I enchanted the thing to do like 1 point of fatigue damage for like 1 second, 1 point of this, 1 point of drain health, 1 point of lower like 14 different stats. So it just constantly sapped stats for like 3 seconds as I just beat the living daylights out of the guards.
Good lord.
They just ended up falling down in front of me, unable to get back up.
and then you
Interesting,
just
Matt.
beat them to death. They're like, huh, you're laying down in front of me. Well, I guess I'm just gonna keep on
Cake.
bludgeoning you.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like if you sap all of the strength from a person's body, they just kind of collapse.
Yeah, that's
Interesting,
not
Matt.
dark.
I mean,
Not dark at all.
It's not much worse than what like Cell did in Dragon Ball Z.
Look, Cell is not the example of what you should do.
What, steal the life force of those who exist around you?
Pretty much.
But how else are you supposed to eat?
Perhaps not be a cannibal. That is also an option.
To be fair, he wasn't a cannibal.
Right.
He was not eating other cells.
Did you even see what Cell did?
He
Did
didn't
you-
eat anyone.
Are you not aware of how Cell was able to evolve? By literally stabbing them with his stinger and sucking everything out but their clothing. Literally
It's
everything.
interesting because you're also wrong. That's not how he was able to evolve.
That's how he's able to get more power. He evolved by devouring the other androids. Yes, I know.
At
I've
which point
watched
his tail
enough.
just extended into
A
cup
straw.
mode.
Just slurp. Like it's God. Cell Saga was one of the best sagas. People can fight me on that if they want to.
And then the last proper video game I've been playing lately is League of Legends. So I've been
That's
playing
not a
ARAMs
proper
That's
again.
not a
video
proper
game.
video game.
It's a proper video game.
You're selling your information to China's Tencent company.
I don't know what information they're getting other than that I suck. At least it's not TikTok.
True. Although they may be selling to an American company at some point, possibly.
I'm just
Who?
saying, Tencent owns like everything.
They really do.
I don't care if they have my information. They can have it. They won't get much information from me.
Is Milo in there with you?
No.
Hey guys, I'd just like to let you know I got my
Never
smithing
mind, I found him.
text.
You got your what cast?
My smithing text.
Nice.
Congrats.
Recommended level 100. I'm not level 100.
Of course.
And
Sounds
my
about
armor
right.
is like 81.
Lord.
Being underleveled, it's a talent.
That being said, I've been having fun with League's ARAM again. It's been nice playing it. That being said, they have gone full weeb. Like
Oh
really,
yeah, with what's his face?
well no, like the Spirit Blossom event they're running
Yeah,
right
that.
now. It's essentially a giant visual novel with like 9 or 10 characters. Kind of.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the general consensus that you never go full weeb?
Not even I've gone full weeb, and I've been in the anime community since I was like 5 years old.
Look,
So
is if you're seeing this at some point, look up videos of what they did for the Spirit Blossom Festival this year. And
no, I've seen
well, you've
it's
seen
it's trending on Tumblr, so I've seen.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately seen.
Full weeb, they really embraced the stereotypes really
A little bit.
hard.
I mean, in all fairness, it's not like they were ever hiding much with misfortune.
Wait, did you say
Misfortune,
with misfortune?
yes, he did, I think.
Okay.
I mean,
Um,
her outfit was clearly designed with one thing in mind.
I mean, yeah.
but this event doesn't deal anything with misfortune, and the fact that you actually know misfortune somehow still is surprising.
Isn't there also a person named Blitzcrank?
Yeah.
Those are about the only two I know.
You don't remember Riven?
Or Ash.
Nope.
You played
Nope.
as Riven.
I refuse to acknowledge what you're talking about.
It didn't
God, I
happen.
hate you.
Pixar didn't happen.
God, I hate you.
Lord of mercy.
No, it's like playing Dark Souls or anything like that. You ran past an enemy. You ran past this chest. Pixar, it didn't happen. Proceeds to get murdered by an enemy I supposedly ran past. Why are you fighting enemies back there?
I laugh because it's true.
It's not like I have enemy stealth, so enemies are less likely to notice me.
Yeah, you either get really focused by enemies or you get really ignored.
No, even with enemy stealth, I still get targeted. Everything just wants my butt. Everything.
Yeah, that's karma. Really is.
But no, it's funny how many of the boss fights so far have basically boiled down to the boss targets our friend. 20 seconds later, blah 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 has died. Boss targets me. 5 minutes later. Stop guarding, you wimp! Fight me like a man! Guarding should be illegal.
Uh-huh. Please tell me more about trying to survive.
He should just dodge.
Okay, Piccolo.
When you I learned from the best.
God, I
Also,
hate
Gohan
that.
was my favorite character. I learned how effectively not dodging works.
I
You
mean,
get
Piccolo
everyone
is
to
kind of one of the best characters. Not gonna lie.
all you have to do is get everyone else to take hits for you.
Ain't no need to dodge if you ain't gonna get hit.
No. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was so great. I forgot about that moment until just now. So, I saw an enemy aim a cannon at me. Like a hand cannon in Neo. So, like, you have bows, muskets, and hand cannons. Well, long story short, I decided, for better or worse, that when the enemy shot, I was going to sidestep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not blocking that shot. I could block it. Didn't think it was necessary. Sidestep. Random idiot behind me. Oh, what's over? Cannon shot to his face. One hit kill. Me. Okay. I'm so sorry for moving. I should have just took the cannon shot.
They must have been so upset.
It was just amusing. I was just like, oops.
Is this the same friend you saved on the bridge with a lightning spear?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's the same friend who I'm almost always there in their moment of need. And I never get the same in return.
Do you feel
I
like he abuses you?
No, because I do the same thing for you, Tyler. For the most part, I'm there in your moments of need in games, and you're never there when I need you.
That feels accusatory.
Sounds about right.
Feels accusatory.
So it's funny because there was one level at Neo 2 where we were trying to find the Kodamas, and we failed the mission like 5 times for reasons. that are not important, but mostly rhyme with fire. And as a joke, I was like, yeah, this mission would be super simple if it wasn't for us trying to find these. Could guarantee you could guess through it just fine. Friend, do it. Me, wait, are you serious? Yeah, me. Man, I should have thought before I opened my mouth. Long story short, I ran through fire. I killed enemies. I dispelled like both Dark Realm instances by myself. I did just fine. And I got us through the boss without fail. And we also won on that attempt. See, talking about your butt works if you can back it up.
The fact that you can back up is truly concerning on so many levels.
I mean, you also have to remember, I'm also the person that if there's a path to the left and path to the right that lead to the same location, and one of them involves running through fire, I almost always pick the path that involves running through the fire.
You know, there's a word for people like you, Travis, and it starts
Masochist?
with an M. Yep.
Fitting. But he's also kind of
Yes.
sadistic too.
I mean, that's
Fatal
why I've
masochism is a thing.
that's probably why I beat Dark Souls level 1.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you did that. No, thank you. No, nothing about that sounds fun.
What, getting one shot by bosses doesn't sound fun?
No, no, it doesn't.
Why not?
Why would that sound fun to me?
Why wouldn't it sound fun?
For so many reasons.
It's like, never mind. Never mind.
Good lord. Well, I feel like we've exhausted our
Everything of
topics of
actuals.
conversation.
I feel like we've been out of subjects of conversation for the past hour.
Nah, it was like last 20 minutes, really. But, that being said, do we have any Brave Exvius news to talk about?
And this is where I check out.
Mobile games are for squares!
I mean, I am playing Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, but Brave Exvius ain't for me, y'all.
Gotcha's gonna gotcha.
I'm gonna go have me some pizza.
How are you gonna get pizza?
I got a pizza.
What do you mean you got pizza?
I got a
She pulled it
pizza.
out of the pocket dimension.
Don't you know? I have hammer space, bro. Just call me. I was gonna Sally. That's not. Is it Sally from Sonic the Hedgehog?
Amy?
Amy, where the hell am I getting Sally from?
I don't know.
She was a side character who showed up in .exe games, but I'm not sure what she's actually
That's
from.
what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, no, just call me Amy because you know Amy pulls a massive hammer out of nowhere. Yeah, got hammer space, man. It's full of food.
Well, yeah. Let's make that pizza because I definitely want a part of that.
I didn't say I was gonna share.
Okay, can you share?
Maybe.
Okay. Dress, we got like
Have you
10
tried
minutes.
asking nicely?
Dress, we got like 10 minutes to talk about Brave Exvius stuff. And then
More like
probably
20.
Well, yes, but I need to take medicine, bathroom break,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I'm probably gonna stream something after I eat. I don't know whether it's
Fair.
going to be.
I've ate dinner twice.
I mean, as you do. Are you a hobbit?
No.
I
But
mean,
I
you're
had a
not much
plate of
taller than I
mashed
am.
potatoes and green beans, bread, a bowl of tomatoes. That was the first time I disappeared. Second time I had Wendy's chicken sandwich and fries.
Hang on. Hang on.
Sorry.
Your picky ass. No. Your picky ass will just eat tomatoes.
Tomatoes
But you
are
won't eat
great.
anything else. You will eat those nasty ass fruit wannabes, but you won't eat anything else. Travis,
Lettuce,
we need to
tomatoes,
have a
and pickles
discussion.
are my favorite flavor combination. Fight me.
Sorry, what?
Lettuce, tomato, and pickles?
Yes.
Tyler,
That's your favorite
Something-
flavor combination?
Probably.
something needs to be done.
I know,
Something
like,
needs to be done.
at work, I'll just put like lettuce, 2 slices of tomatoes, and roughly about 10 to 15 pickle slices on a sandwich. Can't even taste the chicken.
At that point, you should just have a freaking pickle salad.
Travis, that explains so much about you. It really does.
You need help, child. You need help.
But what's wrong with tomatoes?
Well, Bree is dying. I don't have anything against tomatoes. But I do have something against you. You know.
I just got kicked in the lower stomach by my dog.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
I heard the
I sit up and
dying.
he just. Oh, that hurt.
He needs to kick you again.
Look here, you sack of shit. I will fight you.
No. Then I can make a joke about Milo used double kick.
Oh my god. No.
It was
He
super
kicks me enough.
effective.
He's a fighter dog.
Oh Lord.
You should come meet him sometime.
No. I'm not a pet person.
He really isn't a pet person, people. You don't have any idea how not a pet person he is. You put him around an animal and he is immediately behind something else. Usually another person.
Or a car.
Yeah. But Jazz, like, the fact that that's your favorite flavor combination.
It's so good.
And you don't eat salads either, do you?
I'm okay with salads, actually. I just don't like dressing.
Even.
So what was your first meal again?
Mashed potatoes, green beans, bread, bowl of tomatoes.
And then
Like
your
a whole
second,
plate.
like a full plate.
Yeah.
And then your second meal was
Grilled chicken sandwich from Wendy's with large fry.
Hashtag not sponsored. I don't want Wendy's now, but I'm gonna make sounds.
And I bet you guys, when you guessed, I was eating twice.
No, I figured you were eating at least one of those
I
times.
figured what? No, I actually figured you had already ate because we started late.
Nope. Our dad worked over.
Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, well, I guess you do you, Travis. You do you.
At my place of employment, one of my friends likes to make a joke about I eat in Kirby mode.
You know,
Hiya.
I'd give you that.
What's chewing a food? Have you ever seen someone eat a chicken sandwich in about 2.5 minutes, including the time it took them to make it, basically?
Jesus Christ, Travis.
Including the time to make it. Okay. That's unreasonable.
What are you talking about? Unreasonable.
I am now changing your name in my phone from Travis to Kirby. Just putting that out there.
Parentheses, Pollo.
Pollo.
You need all kinds of help, Travis. You really do.
He needs help that cannot be given.
That's very true as well. You need to find it spiritually. Good luck.
It was actually funny because early on they were just like, you need to take a longer break. Me. But there's nothing to do. I would just rather work through the rest of it.
Good God.
After about a month of that, they were just like, okay, you're gonna do you. We don't get it, but you're gonna do you.
That's always what you're gonna do. That's what you do best.
It really is. The Brave Exvia stuff. There's not really.
Let me leave first.
No, you're stuck with this for a little bit.
No, I am leaving.
I don't think there's even that much to go over for us.
Goodbye.
I mean, goodbye. Thanks for joining.
Mm-hmm.
Same time, same place next week.
I mean, kind of hard not to, considering our living situation, but okay.
I mean, one of you could end up dead.
That's very true. Probably me.
Tyler.
What?
Yeah.
Stop what?
No.
No what?
You, no.
I
Can
don't
we
think
I'm
threaten
dealing
so.
with
people with
3
a
idiots at
cleaver?
the moment. I have a very tiny cleaver.
Wait, who's the third idiot?
My dog.
Who's the second idiot?
You,
Who's the first idiot?
Tyler.
I only count 2.
Are you counting Milo as a person, but your brother not?
No. I wasn't counting myself as a person and or an idiot.
I'm not sure that makes it any better.
I'm not a genius, but I don't think I qualify as an idiot.
Look, idiocy does not equate level of intellect. Geniuses can be idiots.
Oh, no, I'm well aware of that. But I barely qualify as a person according to what I'm told.
He's not
If I
wrong
qualify
though.
as a person.
You're a mess.
He really is.
Okay, I'm going to put a pizza in the oven. I will see whoever is watching this stream next week, I guess. And I'll talk to you two losers later.
Sounds like a plan.
Bye.
I am very much a loser.
Bye.
So you'll accept that, but not. Oh, bye.
Okay, so Brave Exvius. Really not a whole lot to talk about. Banner this week is Vaughn and Pinello. People are excited about that.
Charlotte Club!
Yeah, because that's what you're planning on doing with the tokens they're giving out right now, right?
Probably because Charlotte Club!
Don't you have until like August to use them?
Probably, but the rest of the units all suck.
I mean, Mystical Ice Laswell and Delta Star Sakura have some potential staying power.
Sakura's way too weak to have staying power. She's only useful
She
if you
gets
have
a
Zon.
She gets a Neo Vision.
Yeah, but you have to have a Super Trust Mastery, so
Well,
not
I mean,
worth it to just get 2.
well, yes, not for you, but like I already have Delta, Sakura of the Delta Star. So, like, I can get her Super Trust Mastery.
Yeah, but yeah, there's pretty much nothing to talk about this week.
Yeah. Same old, same old. No really new units. Nothing big on that. The picking of the units is pretty cool. I like that they did that.
Charlotte Club!
I was tempted to do Super Trust Masteries for people, but I could probably get 2 Super Trust Masteries out of this really if I wanted. But I don't know. It's a tough decision.
Yeah, I'm piecing out. Bye.
Oh, sudden, but okay, bye. Well, everyone, that was the Healer Abuse Podcast, episode 1. I thank you for your time, and sorry you suffered through most of that. That being said, we will be back again next week. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time is the goal start time going forward. And maybe by then I'll have an overlay. Maybe. Other than that, probably stream something a little bit later tonight. Just gotta decide what it is. But